Welcome, everybody. We are back with another Canadian weather live stream. Tonight, we are going to be looking at storms in Saskatchewan and obviously a bit later of a stream. However, it's taken a while for things to unfold. As far as things developing out south of the border of Saskatchewan. So we're looking at Montana, North Dakota, moving up into Saskatchewan. So let's jump right into this one. We will take a look quickly at radar. We've got Connor on the stream with us right now. So he's going to be helping out here. And we're going to get things rolling. So we've already got some storms approaching here in Saskatchewan. So I'm going to bring that up as quickly as possible. We do have a tornado watch out here to the southern portion of Saskatchewan. However, temperatures have stayed somewhat cool. They've only been in the very low 20s, and that unfortunately, if you are an enthusiast, is not good for severe storms for the tornado side of things. However, obviously, folks in the path of that kind of stuff, it's a very good thing. So we're going to look at how this has developed. We'll walk this through right now, and we'll show you these storms pushing into southern Saskatchewan. And we've gone live because we have this storm cluster that is moving north. It is got a fair bit of hail on it, but it is on the Montana side still, the hail itself, but there are strong winds developing in this storm, and so we're going to walk you through that. I think our biggest threat this evening is the wind and some hail at this point, and models were showing that this was going to become somewhat lined out as the system moves through. So let me pause this up here, zoom in. Right now, we have hail just to the south of the border, so you can see this purple or pink. So there'd be probably pea-sized to grape-sized hail in there, maybe slightly bigger than that. And our big concern right now that the reason we've gone live, I'm going to switch it over and switch to velocity. There are some very strong winds developing in here, and we'll tell you guys right now on the Saskatchewan side, over 100 kilometers an hour indicated in a few spots, so 106 kilometers an hour. This is just as you cross the Montana border, again on the southern portion of Saskatchewan, basically coming southwest it is southwest currently of Bengo, but heading in that general direction. So let me show you folks what's going on here with these winds as the storm was pushing up. You can see those winds suddenly developing, and now we're pushing very strong winds over a fairly broad area. So that will be the issue as this continues to move north. And we'll highlight this here. Let me just show you guys where those bright winds are. We're getting a bit of a bow echo happening here, which these winds right now are moving north, but they're going to push out in multiple directions as it moves north. So this is the biggest threat right now. Just very strong winds. And again, right over top of Coronach. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And this storm just crossing over now. And this is our latest scan. We are looking at US radar currently because it updates far more often than the Canadian radar. And that's what we're paying attention to. It is heading towards our Canadian radar to the north out of just out of west of Regina, but it is also showing those strong winds as well. So we have corroboration from multiple radars showing 100-kilometer-hour winds packed into this line. So that is going to be the biggest component that we're dealing with if the hail does cross over. Let me switch that up. The hail isn't showing as much on the Canadian radar because it is further away. The US one is closer, so we're still showing a bit of hail here just on the US side, so south of the border. But you can see that there's rain packed into this, not a ton of rain. Leading edge has more than anything, but the wind behind it is what's happening right now. So I just want to say good evening to everybody. I know we have got some people jumping in here, and just want to get onto some comments as well. Connor, have you got anything as far as things are going on? Oh, I've got you. No.
Am I muted?
No, no, my earpiece wasn't connected to your channel. Sorry.
Um, so as this developing bow echo kind of starts to get its act together further, we're expecting this to probably take a more northeast turn or east northeast turn into a better environment towards Estevan and Weyburn and stuff like that. So the much better environment is further east of this, but this is a later show than what some models were expecting. So we're going to have to see how this develops. But again, the better environment is further towards the east, towards Estevan, Weyburn, and then towards the Manitoba border as well. So again, we'll have to slow burner today. We were definitely expecting to be on a little earlier, but nonetheless, here we are, and we're going to discuss this as it moves east.
Absolutely. Perfect. So that's kind of a rundown of what we're expecting. This is going to be basically a lined out event with strong winds, and it is going to march north to start and eventually turning eastward. Models were showing that heading towards Manitoba. Just want to address there's a 10 degrees Celsius here in Scobie. I believe that's probably a data issue or data error. It will cool off behind these storms, but not that much. That is pretty significant. Right now, we're showing a couple other areas of 16 and 18 behind it on the Saskatchewan side. But again, our big concern right now with this storm is these strong winds that we're seeing. And you can see they're getting packed in here again. This is moving north-northeast. And right now we have some straight line winds in the 100+ kilometer range, 108 kilometers. It's continuing to have some hot spots that are really packing those winds again. So this is southwest of Ogima, Bengo. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right again, and marching forward. So we are definitely trying to get things going so that we can get that information out. Obviously, this is straight south of Moose Jaw, but it is pushing up into Saskatchewan from the Montana side. Ben Goff, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. I'm always learning names on here, folks, so I want to make sure I pronounce them as best as possible. But you can see those winds on the scan here, how they suddenly brighten up, and obviously packing some strong straight line winds. Right now, they are mostly moving north. Bit of an easterly component on it, but mostly north at this point. So we're going to watch this. So again, heading towards Ben Goff, Highway 13, and Ogima is the other one to the east, but it may actually just go straight north at this point. So we'll see if that continues to be the trend. And I'm going to take a look at our hail component here that was tucked in on the border. It is just on the edge of the border here again, pea-sized hail to maybe grapes roughly is the side. So it is just on the Montana side. And we are monitoring further storm development. As you can see back to the southeast here, storms are starting to line out. So we have essentially a line of storms firing all the way back through Montana into North Dakota, and these are going to swing north and eventually spin kind of eastward at this point. So that's the game plan at this point. We will monitor this again. The tornado component for today is definitely far more reduced. You can see the temperatures right now in Saskatchewan, 20 degrees Celsius in Weyburn, Estevan 22. Those temperatures are just not generally good enough for sustaining tornadic circulation, but we will be here in case anything happens, so we'll monitor that for you folks as well. So just want to jump in here. So, okay, Coronac is the other one. So I've learned how to pronounce a couple of names here. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. Anybody who's watching from there. So Coronac is definitely not how I would have pronounced it. So I'm glad I'm learning how to do that. So hail is just crossing that international border right now. You can see just on 36 here. It is on the international line, but again, not very large hail in this. According to radar, this signature would be pea-sized hail to maybe grapes, roughly in that size. And it's been sustaining somewhat in that area, but again, drifting north as we progress here. So let's switch over to the velocity side of things. And again, though, you can see where that bright color is, and that's where our winds are packed in. Also understand that this is above the surface. So the further you get away from radar, the higher up you're reading in this. However, down at the surface, I guarantee you we're still seeing 80 to 90 kilometer hour wind gusts, or maybe even a bit more than that. But we're getting some readings of 100 plus kilometers an hour up here on, just to the northeast of Coronach. So, if you're in the line of this, again, to the north, these winds are coming your way. There is some regular rain in here. So what I mean by regular rain, yellow, green, and blue are on the light end of the precipitation scale. Your orange, your red, and then your pinks, which are down here, are on the high end of the precipitation scale. So not a ton of rain with this. Already a saturated area. We know that Saskatchewan has been seeing a lot of rain over the last several weeks or month, especially that southeast corner just by Estevan and over to the Manitoba border. We do have these other storms trailing back to the south that are still in the U.S., but they are going to head up. So we will keep an eye on those and what they look like when they start getting towards the border. And those potentially have the possibility of being further east on the map and covering that area. So again, we had some showers go through Regina earlier this afternoon where we had this big cluster, which is way to the north right now. It's by Wynyard at this point. That cluster up there was what went through Regina several hours ago, probably I want to say close to 3 hours ago at this point. We had that rain move through there. Right now, just some regular showers around the Regina area as well. So, oh, Gamma. Good Lord, I'm getting them all wrong. I'm going to take after class in Saskatchewan on how to pronounce names, but I appreciate everybody giving me the right way to do it. So thank you for that. Okay, what else have we got here? Question, Terry asking about Boisvin, Manitoba. So right now, let me take a look here. They've just updated that severe warning, so I'll jump to that. But I'm gonna take a look here by Winkler and the other areas. Nothing right now, just minor storms, minor rain, I would say, not even a storm at this point, just kind of to the west of Boisvin. But again, we are watching this line of storms making its way north, and that's what's kind of got us on the air at this point. And I'll highlight it here. Give me 1 sec. Let me switch back there, do this. And then it's this line that is forming this in this general direction, currently marching north mostly. However, it may end up swinging eastward later on. So overnight, based on what models were showing us, overnight was where we were going to see storms make their way into Manitoba. It doesn't mean that something may not pop earlier in North Dakota ahead of this line and push up into that area. So not fast moving at this point. Right now it's at a moderate speed, I would say. And we're early on in this event in the sense that the severe component is going to be that wind event that is unfolding right now. So anybody again in front of this needs to heed those 100-kilometer-hour winds. It is definitely going to be windy in that area. And let me just bring up our velocities again. U.S. radar showing us again over 100-kilometer-hour winds packed into this right now. I've got some 106 kilometers an hour registering in there. I bet you if we search around, we might get something even a little bit higher than that. But right now, that's what we're looking at is these 108 kilometers an hour. So again, strong straight line winds. This is moving north, currently due south of Moose Jaw. However, this may shift path in terms of trajectory, not just being north and start swinging eastward, but that's what we're going to update folks on. So that's where we're at right now. Okay. Yeah, V-Baller
So
Lefty saying, yeah, go ahead, Connor.
sorry. Laura was asking, are you expecting Regina to get any more heavy rain this evening? And yes, we do expect Regina to get some more rain. That big area is still moving towards the north, but even if it were to take a more eastern turn, um, there is heavy rain, moderate to heavy rain, moving towards Regina again. And we do know that Regina was under a severe thunderstorm warning earlier this afternoon, mostly because there was a very, very slow moving north moving storm that was kind of parked over the city and did cause some flooding in the city. But yes, Regina should be expecting more rain this evening and into the night for sure.
Perfect. Yeah. And again, this is a long event. This is not going to be something short lived in the evening. This is an overnight type thing. And there's more storms on the way for tomorrow for Saskatchewan and then also Manitoba. So I'm just taking a look here. I forgot that they updated this warning. So I just want to read that out to people. So what they've done is they're just saying tracking a line of severe thunderstorms capable of producing damaging wind gusts, loony to ping pong ball sized hail, and very heavy rain. Currently, our biggest concern was the hail. It has subsided on the as it's crossing over the international border from Montana into Saskatchewan. The hail component has gone down. We only have about 8 or 10 pixels of pink compared to earlier. So I can show you what that looked like a few frames back. You can see there's far more pink in this as it was around the Scobie area. That's where it was really sustaining hail, and now it has kind of almost petered out completely. There's only a few pixels of it, so still very heavy precipitation in that area, maybe small hail in there. However, again, we are watching this for the wind side of things, and that's where you can see that bright flesh tone essentially. That's where those big winds are packed in, but even outside of that area where we look to the west, you're still looking 80, 90 km/h winds packing into this. So this is going to make itself known as it passes through your area. If you are ahead of this, again, to the north of this currently, as this is tracking. So batten down the hatches. If you have stuff outside that can be thrown around, I would definitely recommend getting it inside. And again, this is moving northward at this point. So this is our rain, and behind that initial line of rain that you see curved in there is in the center of the screen. There's a bunch of wind packed into there as well. So perfect. Thank you very much for that. Our forecasting is better than local. We're basically telling you guys what's happening as it's happening. A lot of the forecasting relies on models, which we rely on as well. And models some were off on this today. We'll still see how it unfolds because again, it's late compared to what some of the timing was showing us for those models. So it's a game that's not easy to play in terms of predicting what weather is going to do. What we're doing here right now is obviously showing you the live radar, and you can see that wind event starting to really unfold here. I'm going to switch over to the Canadian radar soon, just because that'll give us a little bit lower beam height down into the storm and a little more accurate with the wind speeds that we're dealing with. So yeah, that's where we're at there. Let me actually see what the beam height is here from. Yeah, so this is a little lower down, a little more accurate, and we've got some 80, 85 km/h winds in this, even some 90s in areas. So again, this is heading towards the radar, and if you're not familiar, you're new to the channel, when we're looking at these velocity scans, which is direction of wind speed and how much wind speed there is, green is heading towards the radar, red is moving away from radar. And the brighter the colors, the stronger the winds being registered in there. Mags, I really appreciate your donation there. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Goes a long way towards helping us. And you're always on the stream, so we've seen you on plenty of streams, joining in on the conversation. So thank you very much for that. let's take a look at what they're showing from reflectivity. So this is how heavy the rain is. And again, we're seeing quite a bit of orange and red on the leading edge of this as it marches into Canada from the US side of things. You can see this pushing up. And also quite a bit of lightning associated with it as well here on the, as it comes across the border. So still lots of lightning. Rain is going to be moderate for the most part, other than the leading edge, and then those really strong winds. So that's going to be the difficulty for those local in front of these storms tonight. So let's switch over and bring up that wind event, and that's why they've put out this severe warning. It's more for the wind side of things than anything. And again, that's this yellow box that you're seeing here that stretches from the border all the way north, just to the south of Rouleau, basically, encompassing Milestone as well on that top right corner. So that's where we've got our severe component. The rest of stuff going on right now, again, we've got some showers to the north. We have some showers to the east a little bit here. I can take a look at Foxwarren on the Manitoba side. So there's some basic showers here. Nothing severe, nothing, that's of concern in the sense of the severe component. And we are waiting for storms to move out of the US. That's essentially what we're looking for right now. This line is definitely starting to get organized, as you can see here on the US side, and I'll just show you how that is marching up. And the storms have fired in the last hour or so, and continue to fire further southeast. So all of that is going to make its way up into Canada eventually. So that's why we're paying attention to it as much as we are at this point. They just updated this severe thunderstorm warning. Again, I'm just going to read if anything has changed. Just still talking about damaging winds, loony to ping pong ball sized hail and heavy rain. Again, the biggest concern is that wind event happening. When we switch over to velocities, we can see these really strong winds packed in here. So yeah, and I've got some questions about Alberta. Alberta's got a bunch of rain to the north. I can kind of back this out. All these green boxes is for rainfall warnings, and there are obviously a ton of them. And Alberta, I think, is having the wettest June on record, I believe, at this point. I could be off on that, but I believe that it's basically the wettest June that they've had in Alberta at this point. So you can see all the rainfall warnings out that way. No severe warnings for that area, but definitely a lot of rain involved out there throughout the next few days. This is over the weekend, essentially. So there's just some minor showers out in Calgary. But again, our severe component here in Saskatchewan is what we're concentrating on. The early showers through Regina are here back to the northeast of Regina. That was about 2-3 hours ago. So these storms moving in over by Swift Current, it looks like we have a bit of heavy precipitation. It's not severe warned at this point. However, just due south of Swift Current, there is some very heavy precipitation making its way essentially north there. So let's just take a look here. I'm going to switch back over to our wind velocities. This is our latest scan, 5:41 p.m. So this just came in. And we get our scans every roughly 8 minutes. So there's a big window there while we have to wait for new scans to come in. But 80 plus kilometers an hour here inside, these winds packed in behind the line. So you can see right here, I'll draw it out for you. This is kind of the arc of that line of storms. And in behind that is where those winds are coming in behind. And they're basically pushing out in this general direction. So they're pushing that line, and then behind it, you're just getting those really strong winds. Hopefully this doesn't continue to increase in wind velocity. Sometimes you can get that where it just perpetuates itself. So we will monitor that. And if it obviously we're going to show you guys where those big winds are, but that's where they are sitting currently, just crossed into Saskatchewan at this point. So, what else?
I'll jump in really quick.
Yes.
Um, Kind of watching a small area south of Big Beaver, Saskatchewan. They're just north of the Montana border. There are quite a few chasers down there, but there is some very weaker rotations showing up on radar there on both radars in the same spot. So just an area that we're going to keep watching there as time goes on over the next 20 or 30 minutes and see what goes on with that.
Where is that? Sorry.
Just south of Big Beaver, Saskatchewan, right in
Oh,
between, just north of the Montana border.
okay. Sorry, I can't find it. That's why I'm trying to figure out where that is.
South of, how do
Oh,
you
okay,
pronounce that?
right there.
Bengo?
Yeah, yeah. Nobody's getting it right. So that's on the whole line here in terms of that. But yes, so you're talking the storm that's over 251 right now in the on the US
Ye
side.
No, just south of County Road 18 in Saskatchewan. It's on the Saskatchewan side.
There's velocities that are rotating in there.
Yeah, I'll send you a,
Okay.
quick screenshot.
Yeah, yeah, I see there's a bit of wind on that leading edge. So where that hail is and that kind of stuff. So we'll keep an eye on that for sure. So thank you very much for highlighting that. So we, again, strong winds kind of moving north at this point. And that is the big event right now in terms of the severe component of it. Again, if you're just joining us, the tornado watch that is stretching that southeast corner of Saskatchewan, there's less likelihood of that happening at this point. Temperatures in Saskatchewan have stayed in the low 20s, which obviously is not conducive to strong or severely strong thunderstorms that are capable of, producing tornadoes. So hopefully that threat is as low as possible for the evening. With this kind of severe weather, it's never zero. But we're basically near zero at this point, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. So, what else? I'm just reading some of the comments here. Yeah, Mag saying those wind eddies are crazy looking, and that's the thing is we're gonna get these. If this continues to pick up, you could have these bookend vortex type events that happen on the outer edges of this wind field, and we'll keep an eye on that because again, that's a possibility of something going on with those winds. Straight line winds over 100 kilometers an hour are definitely going to cause damage and blow stuff around. So I'm just going to switch back to velocities here. This is from the US radar, and let's see what our Canadian radar is showing here. Still showing those really strong winds packed in here, and we're 90 plus kilometers an hour on the Canadian radar, which is closer, and meaning it's closer to the ground as well because that beam height is at a lower height. So we've got some over 90-kilometer-hour winds in there. So obviously going to be very windy as this moves north. It is essentially right now heading almost straight up that 36 corridor up to Highway 2 and then to Moose Jaw. If it deviates off that path, we are going to obviously update folks, but these are the winds that are packed in there right in behind that line of rain that you can see here. So it's definitely packing a punch at this point, and we do want to get the word out to folks to make sure that you know that this is coming your way. If you're having an outdoor event or anything like that, you do not want to be caught outside when this comes barreling through because it's going to relocate things for you quite easily, unfortunately. They have just thrown a severe warning here. Let's just take a look at this. So this is, let me bring it up. 5:47 p.m. Environment Canada is tracking a severe thunderstorm capable of producing damaging wind gusts up to quarter-size hail and very heavy rain. Again, this is south of Swift Current on 4, north of Cadillac, essentially. Our heavy precip core would be located right here where we have all this dark red and oranges. That would be where the heavier precipitation is. Depending which radar you're looking from, one of them was showing a little more, I think it was the US radar actually that was showing hail in there. Nope, I'm wrong. I thought I saw purple in there at one point. Maybe it has gone away on this latest scan. There were a couple pixels of pink in there, so I was right, but it has gone down on the last scan, which is a good sign. But when we start getting into that pink, that's where the hail starts to, show up on radar, and then Environment Canada will throw out that severe warning for the storm. So winds in that one don't look too bad compared to what we're seeing back to the east here. And again, I'll switch over to our closer radar, and you can see those bright greens, which are almost blue at this point, or are blue, and obviously showing some very, very heavy winds in there. So 90 kilometers an hour right now is what we're seeing, 85K right in here. So yeah, again, still very, very windy in there, and that will continue for a bit of time here. So we'll see if that starts to dissipate at all. As it widens out, sometimes those winds will break down. However, that's not necessarily always the case. So we'll keep an eye on it. What else? Hail dissipated in Quebec. Oh, okay, that's on the north side of things there. So, yeah, I mean, obviously there's some storms on the Quebec side, but again, our focus right now is definitely the Saskatchewan situation at this point. We also don't have one of the radars in northern Quebec is down, has been down for quite some time, so it's going to be very difficult to point out stuff out that way. So, what else is here? Love the WeatherWise app, but I don't know all the features yet. You use it well. Is this the free version or paid pro version? We are on the paid pro version. We mine quite a bit of data when we're talking about weather, so we definitely have the pro version there, and access to as much information as we can get. We love it. We were radar scope users for 12 years, and we switched to WeatherWise probably 6 months ago. Would you say, Connor? Maybe less?
Yeah. Yes, probably 6 months ago.
Yeah, so it just encompasses so much information that we, had to look at other places before. This definitely has it all built into one for the most part. So, and they're constantly upgrading it. So yeah, definitely we recommend. We're not sponsored by them in any way or anything. We just support it because it's a really good tool at this point. So, what else have we got here? Moderate rain in Cut Knife, Saskatchewan. So yeah, there's, again, most of this is, if we look at it, your yellows and your greens are definitely on the light end of the precipitation scale. When you get into far more orange, and then those dark orange and reds, that's where you're getting into downpours. Those are the really strong rainfalls that are happening. And when you get into pinks and purples, that's where you start to get into hail. So on the Montana side, for example, here, we've got a couple areas of indicating a very heavy precipitation and hail. This is moving north. Again, we have to see what happens as this does go, gets closer to Canada and crosses that border, whether those are able to sustain that hail. And right now, we're not sure if that's the case, just based on what these storms have been doing. So, switching back to our Canadian radar here, we are 5:47 p.m. So we're about 5 minutes into our scan. We need another 3 minutes to get the latest one here. So, got a question here. I'm going to throw it up. We've had this a couple times. Just want to go through. Regina is going to get some rain from this event. Again, this is all marching up, and will end up in Regina overnight. This is definitely an overnight event. Late this evening, overnight, and then there will be a round two probably tomorrow, where you're going to get some more storms coming in. But obviously we have to assess models once this event unfolds, throughout this evening and overnight. And again, I'll play this out so you can see what's coming our way. These storms are all coming out of Montana and north on the very western edge of North Dakota, and they're going to drift up into Saskatchewan, and eventually into Manitoba overnight as well, is what we're expecting based on what the models were showing. So, um, What else? I'm just jumping into questions here. Da, da, da. Seeing if I'm missing anything important. Uh,
Dominic was mentioning that it's going to be a very active week in Ontario, and yes, it is. For those of you that are viewing from Ontario, yes, we do have a very active week coming up. Probably at least 3 days in a row with some storms on the way. Obviously, we're going to have more, information available on that when the time comes. But if you're viewing from Ontario, yes, you should definitely pay attention to the weather this week. Is what I'll say. It's going to get quite active.
Yeah, we can kind of give you a rundown. Right now, this evening or today, we were counting on severe weather in Saskatchewan, which is happening or unfolding at this point. Obviously, more of a straight line wind event at this time. And then some heavy precipitation. So far, hail has not been a huge issue. It's been mostly south of the border. Tomorrow, we're looking at Saskatchewan, Manitoba. So Sunday, and then Monday, we're looking Manitoba, Northwest Ontario. And then we're moving into southern Ontario and south eastern Ontario, and we may have. It looks like we could have 9 days of basically live streaming on here from one section of Canada or another, and we may have where we have. Prairies and Ontario and Quebec playing all on the same day in terms of severe weather. We will do coverage for all of those. Obviously, we focus on the areas that have the severe weather. That's our primary purpose for this channel, is to get the information out to folks. We're not here to do a forecast for whether it's going to be sunny or rainy in your area. There's plenty of apps out there that'll do it. We're here to cover when things are going bad. And trying to get that info out. So I'm just going to look here on my radar just to see what the wind looks like. I am going to switch from the US to the Canadian for that. I was just trying to show the storms coming up. Let's just take a look here. So still a very solid core of wind, basically stretching back to the southwest. And again, we're seeing some 90 plus kilometer hour winds. There's 100 in there right now, and that's getting closer to the radar. So still packing in those winds in this southern portion of Saskatchewan. Again, straight line winds primarily, and moving north at this point. And we don't have a speed. Sometimes we do get the speed of the storms moving through with the Environment Canada warnings that they put out. There's nothing in here. That's what I'm double checking here to see if they were saying at the speed at which these storms were moving northward at. So I don't have that, but they don't look to be going too fast at this point. So straight line winds is our biggest culprit anyways at this point. So yeah, backup power supply for your sump pumps is definitely a very good idea. Whether you're out west, whether you're in Ontario, it's always good to have a backup source of power for those sump pumps, especially for those in the country. Obviously, I'm lucky. I've got a backup generator I can fire up if I need to run the studio and the house, obviously, but we'll see if that if it comes into play over the next 9 days. We haven't had to do that yet, but the weather pattern definitely looks agitated over the next 7 to 10 days, roughly. So we're gonna keep up with this. I may not have a voice after 9 days, so we'll have to see if that's the case. And
You can actually still see all of the wildfire smoke on satellite as it's sitting in the open air in North Dakota and Montana. So that is definitely inhibiting storms from going up in North Dakota and going towards
yeah,
southern Saskatchewan. So that's one of the issues that we've been dealing with today.
Yeah, this is the high res satellite imagery that you're seeing here for, obviously North Dakota, Montana, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. If we zoom in, it gets real high res here. But in the areas where there's no white, which is obviously your clouds from your storms or your updrafts or your anvils, Where you're seeing that black area or darker areas, those should be far more black than they are, and that's how we know we've got smoke trailing in here. And it's actually being pulled up from Utah, I want to say was where the biggest fire was. So all of that is getting pulled up north with this system as it's making its way into Canada. And when you do get smoke making its way in with storms, it acts like a blanket. It doesn't allow the heating to get to the surface, and that's what keeps storms kind of on the lower end of things. And again, you can see Regina right now sitting at 19 degrees Celsius, and that was 24 minutes ago, so not very warm in Regina, which is great for the severe side of things at that point. So definitely, you know, good signs. But down at Estevan, it's still 22 degrees right now, and just across the border into North Dakota, we're in the 24s and 23s. So a little bit more storm energy available for these other storms that are coming up out of the US, again from the Montana side and stretching all the way back into North Dakota. As you can see, these are populating to our south and making their way up. So all of this is going to slowly make its way up to Canada. And the question is, what is that going to look like when it gets here? If it's severe, we are going to be here to tell you folks about it. If it's just regular thunderstorms and they're non-severe, then obviously it's not as dangerous a component. We do, it looks like I have a wall cloud mentioned here. Just a sec, I'm just double checking here. I'm going to see who reported that. Don't recognize the name, but we do, this little triangle here is indicating of a wall cloud, and I want to see what time that was at. That was reported just now. So let me just stop here and see what I'm going to take a look at velocities here. I don't see anything really reporting, and the problem being is that this report shows that that's where the person is. That does not necessarily tell us which storm they're looking at. They could be looking south, they could be looking north. I'm just taking a look to see here if they're showing anything or any commentary, and there is none. When we get these spotter dot reports, it's always important that we do get information from folks when they're submitting those, where they're looking at and what they're looking at. There's a severe warning over here. I'm just taking a look at this that just went up. Let me just take a look here. Environment Canada just tracking a severe thunderstorm capable of producing very heavy rain. And this is for the Grasslands National Park area, right in this area to the east of Climax. And they're saying very heavy rain in that storm. It would be in the far southeast corner here with these red pixels and orange pixels. That would be the only area I see of very heavy rain. I'm just trying to switch between radars just to see what the Canadian radar sees versus what we see. So interesting one there. I don't see a ton of rain in that one, so a little baffled by that, but obviously heed the warnings from Environment Canada, and we're going to switch back over to here to watch this storm system as it's moving up towards Moose Jaw and Regina area. It'll be to the west of Regina at this point. However, storms further south will get into the Regina area. So we are now 5:59 p.m. This is our latest scan from the Canadian radar. Let's take a look at velocities here. We're still in that close to 100 kilometer, 90 kilometer hour range, somewhere in there. You can see that with the data, 97 kilometers an hour packed in back here. So still very windy behind this line as these storms move north. That hasn't really subsided a whole lot. It's sustaining those 90 plus winds in that area behind the line. So you can see that that's kind of got a bit of a arch in it at this point. So excuse me. What else? Just checking some chats here. We've got a whole bunch of stuff going on, so making sure I'm not missing anything. I'm going to zoom out, just look at other areas to see if there's anything ongoing right now. Manitoba, the only thing on the Manitoba-Saskatchewan border, we have a regular thunderstorm, non-severe, just by Valley River, south of there on the Manitoba side again. Nothing to be concerned about. That's just regular rain with maybe one or two lightning bolts, and you can see how that's unfolded, all moving north at this point. So that's what's unfolding over in that area. Again, our biggest thing that we're doing here is the storms on the Saskatchewan side, south of Moose Jaw, and obviously right uh, basically west of Ogama and Assiniboia, basically to the east of that. So, and the winds are moving up the middle here. This is where our strong winds are located, and they're basically punching up in that general direction. And that's why you're seeing this arch forming on these storms and then making its way back. So we have these really strong winds pushing up the middle. And again, closing in on 90 to 100 kilometers an hour above the surface. Still going to be very surface, still going to be very windy on the surface there. So, what else here? Maddox saying, as a student commercial pilot, it's so interesting watching the lives. Appreciate what y'all do. Thank you very much for tuning in. And again, we try and, be accurate with our information and help people understand what is unfolding, even educating people on how to read radar, that kind of stuff. So, what else?
Maddox asking again, do you think it will come up through Saskatoon? Y- the severe component is definitely not coming up there. If anything, it's just going to be regular rain showers up there in Saskatoon over the next few days. Definitely a bit of rain on the way, but the severe component is definitely not coming up there in Saskatoon.
Yeah, we already have lots of isolated rain showers up in that area. Again, temperatures in the 19 to 18 degrees. Right now, being 6 p.m., we've still got a few hours till sunset. However, once sun does go down over the horizon, the temperatures are going to drop. And you can see that there's just isolated pockets of moderate to light rain throughout the region. And I can kind of show you how this is unfolding around the Saskatoon area. So things are spinning, and these are actually going back to the northwest. So it's a pretty dynamic system that's moving through the area, and that's what's going on. So to the north, storms are moving northwest. On the south end by the border, storms are moving due north. And then on this side, I just want to see what the storms are doing from Regina. They're going northeastish. So we have all sorts of storm motions interacting today. And again, that's what's making it a little more complex. We can't just, give you guys a straight, hey, the storms are going to head in this general direction, because it obviously depends where you're located, and it depends which storms we're talking about at this point. So, what else have we got here? Dave asking, what about Moose Jaw? So this is all to the south of Moose Jaw. So you definitely need to be paying attention to this storm moving north currently. It is punching up that way, as you can see on this cycle here. And this rain is moving up there. But our concern is not the rain, because it's only heavy in small pockets. It's the wind that is in behind this. And what I mean by that, I'll swing that up here and play the cycle here. So where you see those greens, where they start to turn into, basically bright blues, those are 100-kilometer-hour winds packed in there. And you can see that they are essentially right now due south of Moose Jaw, and that is heading north. So we'll see if those sustain. So the straight line winds, again, 80, 90, even up to 100 kilometers an hour we're seeing within this storm. So it's still quite a ways away from Moose Jaw at this point. We can give you guys a rough idea in terms of distance for those winds. Let me just highlight that, take Moose Jaw and go down to about here. They're still roughly about 100 kilometers away for those winds. Let me switch over to velocity, and I'm right on the tip of those winds right there. So where you see that bright bluish coloring, that is where those strong winds are. So they're still roughly 100 kilometers away from Moose Jaw at this point. So there's still time for them to dissipate, but that's what we're going to pay attention to here and update you guys as it's happening. And again, you can see where they've come across, and that whole thing is curling around up there. So let me see here. So got a video here. Okay, this is from Braden Morso, so let me share this, folks. Bear with me for a sec while I get this loaded up. Okay, let's see here. Come on. There we go. Okay, let me get this up here for you, folks. So this is again from Braden Morso, watching the clumping cows, but this is turbulent skies east of Big Beaver, Saskatchewan. So you can see that, what's behind that line as it's moving through. This is what we refer to as a whale's mouth sometimes. And obviously those winds are packed in right behind that. So that's a great little video there from Braden Morso. Again, one of our storm chasers on the ground. He does an amazing job and allows us to share his stuff there. So appreciate that, Braden. And if you guys don't follow Braden, definitely give him a follow on X or on Facebook. He posts to both of them. So, he's always where the severe weather is happening. He has a knack for that. So, definitely a great chaser to follow. So let's take a look here. Still quite a bit of lightning here up the, I guess 34 corridor here. And moving northward, there's a bunch of rain in there. But again, in this separation where we're lacking some precipitation, that's where those winds are really pushing through and making things very windy up the center here. That's essentially where you're seeing those really strong winds, and they will continue to push up that way. Again, mostly north, but as this drifts northward, but a bit of an easterly component on it as well, so we can't discount that. So what else have we got here? Clumping cows. Shannon, there you go. I was like, Shannon loves clumping cows, another awesome storm chasers. Braden's out there monitoring the clumping cows. It always amazes me about cattle is that I know they're herd animals, but they've got 150 acres to roam in, and they always are in the corners. I don't get that, but I'm not a farmer and I don't hang out with cows. But every time I'm storm chasing them, I always see them hanging out in a corner. For the most part, not always, but I've got water on my phone. Okay, so that's kind of what's taking place. Definitely a lower end severe event than what we were expecting, which is good again for those people that are in the path of this. It was, again, we had a tornado watch out. We still do have that tornado watch. It is still up for another 3 hours, and Environment Canada saying conditions are favorable for development of severe thunderstorms that may produce tornadoes. And they were saying the potential for tornadoes will diminish early this evening, which is roughly where we're at right now. And with those temps that did not get high during the daytime in Saskatchewan, I suspect we are at a near zero parameter for that. But again, you never know with weather, and we like to, put that information out. We're not trying to scare anybody. We're just trying to get you guys the right information so you're well prepared. We would rather you over prepare than under prepare. And if you're just tuning in, this is that line that is forming into the US and moving north. So those storms are all headed this way. We do have a couple of them popping just kind of ahead of the line. There's one down here just on 94. And a couple little ones that are popping out ahead of it. There is some hail in this line of storms. For example, right in this area, there's probably grape size to maybe ping pong ball sized hail in here. This is on the US side, which is again Montana, directly south of Saskatchewan. So we'll see whether these storms start to kind of take a northeast turn or if they just go straight north at this point. And again, we'll see how that unfolds throughout the evening and the overnight. So and if you have questions for us, folks, you've seen we're trying to answer them in the chat as much as possible. So definitely, definitely throw them in the chat. We will do our best to answer them and get you guys any information that we can. Obviously, we are talking about Saskatchewan and a bit of Manitoba at this point. So please, try and keep the questions regarding that for the severe component of things. So Oh, cool. That's interesting. Just getting a comment here about the cattle. Colleen's saying normally in evenings they gather to get away from bugs this time of year, and I can totally appreciate that because I attract the bugs. Unfortunately, if you want to have a party and you want somebody to come and visit your party and take all the mosquitoes with them, I'm that person. They come after me and leave everybody else alone. So I can relate to cattle not wanting to deal with the bugs at this point. So uh, what else? Yeah, interesting, Connor. Huh. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So that'll come up, Connor. Just so you know, anytime somebody
Oh,
comments in the chat, it shows up as our username. So either
okay. Yeah.
myself, yeah, Connor was just asking some questions of why it showed up. So that's exactly why. So okay. Well, anyways, at this point, again, we're so far on the lower end of the severe component, which is great. We are just dealing with those really strong winds. The rain seems to be breaking up ahead of this as it's moving into those cooler temperatures. So I'm just going to take a look here on the Canadian radar and we'll see what's going on. The winds look like they are subsiding a little bit. I'm just going to double check here. This is from the US radar. Still obviously very bright up the middle there. And let's just take a look at what our Canadian radar is showing on the latest scan. This is at 6:11 about 4 minutes ago. Let's see, we got some 80, 70. So winds may be subsiding a little bit. There's still some pockets of 90. However, on average, we look like we're in the 70s and 80s, which may be a good sign that things are, downtrending slightly only at this point, but that may be a good picture long term that, the winds do start to die down on this. And I just want to show you guys that it is spinning this basically as it's coming through on the Canadian side into Saskatchewan. You can see this kind of uh, rotation or arch. Let me just draw it out for you. You can see that the precipitation is spiraled off somewhat in that direction. So again, those winds punching in behind that line is what's causing this kind of dome effect. And, obviously the strong winds are capable of pushing that pretty fast and pretty hard. So if you are in front of this, again, moving towards Moose Jaw, it looks like it's going to be for now to the west of Regina. So Moose Jaw is more of in the target path or line at this point. And the rain, the main part of the rain right now, let's see how about 36, 40, let's say 40 kilometers to the edge of the heavier rain with this system as it's moving in. There's a little few isolated showers right in front of it, but the main portion of the rain is about 40 kilometers to your south right now. So, and is this a hail marker? Somebody's put a hail marker in here. So this is a report. This is 12 miles north. Well, this is Montana, so that doesn't help us. We don't. We're in Canada, so spotter networks out of the U.S., so they obviously default to Montana. Aaron Rutley is reporting 3/4 inch hail at this point, so that would be about what 2 centimeters, two and a bit centimeters hail, basically. Just on this Highway 34 is where that's being reported north of Big Beaver, where you see these dark reds. So that's a report that just came out through Spotter Network. What else? So yeah, Hyacinth saying, "Can you just imagine how many mosquitoes we'll get in Saskatchewan after all this rain?" And there's absolutely more rain coming, and that southeast corner has already seen a ton of rain over the last several weeks. So I can't imagine. Definitely not what I would be enjoying in any way. I detest mosquitoes because they like me way too much, and I literally have to bathe in mosquito repellent whenever I go outside in that kind of environment. They're the size of pterodactyls out in Manitoba and Saskatchewan. That's the other problem. So, not a
Northern
fan of.
Ontario too.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, Northern Ontario too. Absolutely. So we can see that line forming here, and it's still continuing to progress northward. This is the evolution of things. And you can see how it's kind of like a fish hook almost in the Saskatchewan side as it moves northward. And we still have those hail storms back to the southeast at this point. And definitely warmer temps back down to the south. We've got some areas in North Dakota with 26, 27 degrees and low 20s just on the Saskatchewan North Dakota border. So temps have cooled as these storms have gone through. We are down to roughly it shows 15 degrees here, and that is 14.8 Celsius. That was about 20 minutes ago. And that's in southeast of Coronach. Rock Glen showing 15 degrees as well. So things are cooling off drastically behind it. This Scobie weather station has jumped to 13 Celsius. So maybe the 10 degrees, I don't know what the elevation is like there, but maybe that 10 degrees we were seeing there earlier was accurate. So it's definitely cooling things off, and as the rain moves through like it normally would. But again, the only thing we are seeing with these storms that is of concern for us or people out in front of this is obviously those winds that are tucked in right here on radar south of Assiniboia. You can see south and east of there, you can see these bright greens and blues. Those winds are in the 80 to 90 kilometer hour range. This is above the surface. However, as we get closer to the surface here, we're about 80 kilometers an hour. So definitely very windy behind this line as it's moving northward. Sire saying hail and Scobie cooling the air. It could be. Definitely hail will cool things off, but that was a drastic difference in temperature. So it sort of stood out to me as far as now it's jumped up to 16 degrees all of a sudden on this in this latest update here. So bizarre. That's weird. It was 13 degrees like 2 seconds ago. Am I losing my mind, Connor?
No, it definitely jumped up.
But it says updated 26 minutes ago. That's why and it says 13. Of
It
course now.
says updated 6 minutes ago for me.
Yes. Yeah, it just changed on my thing just literally as I'm clicking on it. That's why I'm laughing. It's like it's making a liar out of me. So far, southeast corner of Saskatchewan has nothing really going on. Which is obviously a good thing. I'm just going to take a look. There's a few boundaries floating out there, but storms to the south here in North Dakota are getting going. And again, those are coming up to Canada. You can see how slowly this stuff is moving. Some of it's almost somewhat stationary. So not going to be anything moving super quick. And this will move in through the evening and overnight hours, and eventually into Manitoba overnight. Again, tomorrow, I can kind of show you guys what's expected tomorrow while we wait for scans. So let me switch to the Canadian products here. This should be tomorrow. So what we're expecting tomorrow, again, this is the outlook the Environment Canada has put out. I'm going to turn the radar off, and you can see that we have all the way basically just to the west of Moose Jaw, all the way back into Winnipeg, and then quite north on both of them, Melfort, and then to the north on the Manitoba side. We do have a moderate area, which is in yellow. They are calling for 90 kilometer winds. This is from tomorrow afternoon, so 1 p.m. onward, and up to 1.5 or 1.25 inch hail, 50 to 75 millimeters of rain in this yellow area. And then from Brandon up through Dauphin, Ryden Mountain National Park, we have a high potential for severe from Environment Canada. They are calling for winds up to 110 100 millimeters of rain and then almost just over, sorry, not almost, over 2-inch hail tomorrow in this orange area with the risk of a tornado. So that is what's on the table for tomorrow. But again, this could change completely based on how today has unfolded. So take that with a grain of salt. Things are constantly changing and evolving with weather. So just wanted to put that out for folks who are watching, who might be from that area. Just in regards to what's going on possibly tomorrow. We will definitely put our 2 cents into this tomorrow morning just to give people a heads up as to what's possibly going to happen once we see new models and go from there. So, uh,
To be quite honest with you, I they might even end this tornado watch before it expires.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by that at all because there's just no parameters there that would, have, those kinds of conditions happening. Uh, with the way the temperatures are, with the cloud cover, and how storm evolution is happening. So I agree with you there. I wouldn't be surprised at that all at all. Okay. Um, so yeah. So again, we're just looking at winds right now. Nothing again super high end severe at this point, which is great for people in front of this. Connor and I actually expected to be on about what are we now, 6:30 p.m. So we came on around just after 5 p.m. Saskatchewan time. We figured we would be on around 3 p.m. Saskatchewan time. So things are definitely far more delayed. And again, temperatures didn't get to where they needed to be. So for the most part, uh, folks are doing pretty good in front of this system as it's moving through compared to what it looked like earlier this morning. So still seeing those winds packed in right here with these bright greens and blues, 80 kilometers an hour roughly, just over 90. It looks like in a small spot there, but this is the area of highlight for those strong winds tucked back in here, all the way back up and around like this, drifting northward towards Moose Jaw at this point. So that's where our winds are, and that's our biggest threat at this point. The rain itself, uh, other than obviously this area that I'm going to highlight in here, there's some heavy precipitation. We've had some reports of hail in there. I'm not seeing any pinks on the radar, which again, when we get into the pink coloration, that's where you start to get into that smaller hail to, pea-sized hail, that kind of stuff. Right now, this just looks like very heavy rainfall, downpours with obviously lightning and then some wind in it, but nothing compared to what's sitting kind of just to the west of that. So those are our two areas that we're watching at this point, and there are a couple of watches back here to the west south of Swift Current. However, there's nothing in that area that's of any real major concern. There's just some rain in there. I'm going to check the wind speeds. There's not even any real wind in there. There were a couple of pockets of heavier rain like this, what you see right north of the Trans-Canada at Gull Lake. That is just a bunch of precipitation tucked in there with that dark red and orange, but that's just heavy rain at this point, based on what we're seeing on radar. So let me switch back over here and we'll take a look at our storm system moving in here again. Just around Regina, a few lightning bolts to the northwest. Near it looks like Lumsden and Craven area, just isolated storms with a couple of them being very sub-severe thunderstorms with a few lightning strikes on them, but nothing of any major concern at this point. So what else? Mag saying bouncing off, nice coverage once again. Stay safe, everyone. Thanks for always tuning in. Appreciate that. Sire 605 saying I've seen hail coulier from 29 Celsius to 9 with heavy fog in Crichton, Saskatchewan. That's impressive, and that would take a lot of volume of hail, I would say, and not necessarily to do with size, but if it's prolific hail, I've seen some crazy stuff like that in the U.S. Colorado, for example, we've seen some crazy temperature drops. But that's significant. 20 degrees Celsius is is quite a bit. So it does happen, absolutely. Let me just take a look and zoom out if there's anything here. And the best part about all this temperature stuff, how we're dealing with like 18, 17 degrees, and then the Northwest Territory sitting at 32 degrees in spots. And further north in the Arctic, it's even warmer than some parts of Saskatchewan on the southern end. So complete turnaround or flip of what you would expect normally, but that's the way it goes with weather sometimes. So let's just take a look here, and I'm going to just adjust here. So yeah. One of our chasers who's out in Saskatchewan today at an event is just going, it's still cold. So the severe weather, if you're an enthusiast for severe weather, it's definitely not going to unfold the way you thought it would. And again, we're watching just these storms coming out of the US. That's our big question mark at this point, but they are not moving very fast at all. So let me see if I can figure out the speeds of these here, whether they're moving. Because in the US, we can get that off the radar a lot of times. So let me activate a couple of features on there for storm tracks. Turn those on. There we go. And you can see the storm tracks are... So the shorter the storm track is, these lines with the white, they look like T's or T-bars. The shorter the line, the slower moving the storm is. So if I click on this component, it's moving north-northeast, that cell, at 17 kilometers an hour. Radar is showing a 1.25 inch hail on that. This cluster here, I'm just going to look at to see what the radar is saying. Again, moving 7 kilometers an hour, calling for 3-inch hail in that storm. So in Montana, we do have some significantly larger hail, obviously better parameters down there. This is the closest storm to the U.S. border with a storm track on it. It's moving at 11 kilometers an hour with about 1/2 inch hail in there. So those are other tools we can use off the U.S. radar. We don't have it really available in Canada off of our radars. We can use obviously U.S. radars to tell us how fast things are moving in Canada. And they're saying these storms are moving at 41 kilometers an hour, but they are much further north and much farther away from the radar. So velocities kind of get lost at that point since it's aiming so high into the storm. Let's just take a look at this. And they're saying that one's moving at 65 kilometers an hour, which I am very skeptical of. But we'll switch over to the Canadian radar. So rain about to move into Moose Jaw, obviously one of the more populated areas here on the Trans-Canada west of Regina. We are probably from the rain about 15 kilometers. And again, this is moderate to moderate heavy rain to the south of Moose Jaw. Once we get into more orange and red, that's where the rainfall obviously gets to the, downpours, that kind of thing. However, right now, all of it is tucked in here to the east of the line. And again, in this kind of corridor right here, moving its way up to the north, and that's where the rain is. And if I switch over to our velocities, we have our winds tucked into here, and again we're talking 80 to 90 kilometer hour winds roughly tucked into this cell to the west. So winds are in here, and then our precipitation, which is going to be your rain, is going to be right in this cell here. So that's essentially what's going on at this point. Thankfully, it's not very intense or severe. So people in front of this, the only thing right now you're concerned with is those strong winds. So let me just take a look here. Connor, can you check for me to see if there's any comments on the Facebook side of things? The only reason I'm asking is I want to see if our combined chat thing is working.
There are no comments on Facebook at this point.
Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything there. So, okay. Yeah, I'm just reading my comments here. Not very exciting stream today. There's not a whole lot to talk about, so which is good because I have to ration my voice for the next 9 days with the way the severe outlook is. I've never gone 9 days straight live streaming, so we'll see whether that marathon kills my voice or not. So we'll just take a look here. They are updating the severe. Let's just see what they're putting out here. 6:32 p.m., which is just now, tracking a line of severe thunderstorms capable of producing damaging wind gusts, loony to ping pong ball sized hail, and very heavy rain. That's basically just what they've been putting out. So it's kind of a status quo type situation for this storm system as it's moving north into Saskatchewan. But temperatures definitely dropping below behind it, and obviously those strong winds. So right now, sticking to the west of Regina is what we're looking at, heading right up the middle towards Moose Jaw. Swift Current just has light rain to moderate rain at the most. That's as heavy as it's getting over there. I'll double check to see from another radar here. And just to the west of Swift Current, we have kind of stretching from north of Gull Lake back south along 37 there. We just have a bunch of heavy precipitation in there, but there's only literally 2 or 3 lightning bolts, so nothing again to get too excited about. And I'll check our winds in there, and there's not a lot of wind associated there as well. So again, nothing super exciting at this point. And this is what storm chasers, if you're enthusiasts on weather, you know, we're going to break out the B word for what the potential was this morning. We would call this a bust, basically, meaning that the high end severe component didn't unfold. Excuse me. Again, the people out in front of that, obviously that's great news for people who are storm chasers. They're not going to be as happy about it, but that's the way weather goes at this point. So that's kind of what's unfolding at this point.
Uh, Further to that, the issue with today is likely going to be that remnant showers early afternoon kind of left the cloud cover hanging around for far too long in southern Saskatchewan there, and then obviously, as we mentioned earlier, there was also a little bit of wildfire smoke and fog that did come into southern Saskatchewan there at the same time. So with all those things combined, you know, it's kind of hard to get a real significant severe weather day anywhere, and not just Saskatchewan. When you're dealing with cloud cover, wildfire smoke, it's hard to do anything at that point. So, um, yeah, that's at this point, that's pretty well why that this is, you know, quote unquote, become a bust at this point.
Yeah, and I'm just going to throw out the outlook from the Storm Prediction Center or the National Weather Service in the US. And down here in North Dakota, on the North Dakota, South Dakota, and Montana borders, they had a what we call a 10% hatched for tornadoes. And that's as far as data goes and probabilities, that's very high for tornadoes. I've never liked chasing 10% hatch because there's as much as there's high potential, there's high failure mode in that usually associated with it. So it's either go big or don't go at all. And I think we've fallen into the don't go at all today. I'm just looking, there's one storm down here rotating actually. So I'm near Buffalo, South Dakota. There's some rotation in here. I'm just going to see. That's possibly a tornado trying to happen in South Dakota right now. I'm sure Max Velocity is streaming this, but you can see right here. So this is what a tornado either trying to form or forming looks like. You've got those bright greens right across from bright reds. That is a area of tight circulation and obviously something you want to pay attention to. Again, this is in South Dakota. I'm just looking back to go through the parameters of what's going on, but that area right there is rotating right now. So we're not covering that area, but just wanted to highlight what's happening south of the border with the storm system as it's moving through. And then we'll actually, sorry, I'm just going to click this off and go from there. But that gives you an idea of what a rotating storm would look like. And if we had something like that here, we would definitely have folks paying attention to it. But right now, we're just seeing some rain, lightning tucked in on the east side of this storm system as it moves through. Obviously associated with some heavier rain, even potentially some very small hail, and then the wind up the middle of this. Essentially, if I switch over, you can see those bright greens in there. That hasn't really changed a whole lot. 80 to 90 kilometer hours of winds at this point. So yeah, so that's basically what's happening at this point. Our Toronto, good to see you in the chat as always. Still better than listening to artificial ignorance, and I will agree with that statement. You definitely have to babysit AI to a certain extent, because it's not, unfortunately, you shouldn't believe most of what comes out of AI without verifying what it's telling you. So what else is going on here? QLCS most favored. The link is PAC's weather discussion for the prairies and the Arctic. If you tried to post a link, our chat doesn't allow links to go in there. It just keeps stuff that shouldn't be in there out. So it's if you did try to post one there, sire, that's why it's not showing up. At least for us, it's not showing up. But yeah, we do watch a lot of those servers and Environment Canada and all sorts of stuff as far as what the discussions are, and kind of trying to play out the day and figure out where things are headed. So again, at this point, this is unfolding far weaker than what was expected, which is great for folks that are in this area. So that's the good news of the day. And again, we'll see how this continues. Right now, the storm's in Montana, and I'm going to turn those outlooks off. Give me a sec here. Let me get rid of that. The storms in Montana and right on that North Dakota, South Dakota border are crawling. They are not moving very fast at all right now. So not a lot going on in that regards. And we are 6:40 p.m. So still a couple hours till the sun sets in Saskatchewan at this point. We'll see whether these get up there and maintain some of that intensity, but they are kind of following roughly where storms already were, which means those environments are slightly raked over, meaning that they've used up the energy, or some of the energy, not all of the energy that's available to them. But the storms that are further eastward here, moving north, are in an environment that has not been compromised. And there's some good temperatures where you're looking at 25 degrees Celsius here on the North Dakota side. That may be enough for them to get their, getting organized and get together, as compared to a storm moving into 15 degrees Celsius, because that's just not going to produce any kind of severe component. So that's kind of what we're looking at this point. If something does continue to go north in North Dakota and these temperatures maintain, they might get, something happening and going from that area. So yeah, definitely not what we were expecting. I'm just going to take a look here. I've got some stuff posted here. Okay.
So I think the main, obviously, aside from the wind overnight here in Saskatchewan and maybe into Manitoba, obviously one of the bigger threats tonight is likely going to be that flash flooding threat with these north moving storms like this. They're kind of just continually raking over the same area for a long period of time. And whenever these storms kind of come up from Montana and North Dakota, that is still going to be the threat as it moves towards east. It's just very, very slowly moving east while moving north. So very heavy rain and potential for some flash flooding tonight in southeastern Saskatchewan.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that update. So, yeah, definitely, this is again an event that models are portraying going overnight throughout to tomorrow morning, and then there's a second round tomorrow that will be further east of where it currently is. And we were targeting, as we were showing you, into Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and again, we will put out an outlook on our Facebook page as to what we're thinking for Manitoba and Saskatchewan for tomorrow once this kind of rolls through. So, sorry, Liv asking, did we see the flooding in Idaho yesterday? It was wild because they had so much hail as well. It almost looked like snow. I haven't personally seen the Idaho stuff from yesterday. I didn't catch that, but I have seen where where I've been in hail, where it's starting to pile up on roads and that kind of stuff. I think Mexico at one point, there was a hailstorm through either Mexico City, I want to say, that dumped so much hail. There was 3 feet of hail on roads, and it was cars were starting to float and all sorts of crazy things like that. So yes, you can have these storms that kind of stall or move very slowly and just start dumping a ton of hail. I had it happen. The last time I had it happen to me actually was Tucumcari, New Mexico. I chased down there in 2024, I want to say, and or was it 23? It's 23 or 24. I was down there and I was driving my big truck, which is behind me, and it was probably a foot deep of hail that got dumped out there. And because it's desert like out there, the water has nowhere to go and the hail has nowhere really to go, obviously. So it just kind of sits there and floods the streets or sits on the streets down there. So yeah, you can definitely have some pretty prolific hailers that just sit and dump a ton of precipitation onto a small area, which is obviously the problem. So what else have we got here? Okay, so our latest scan here was at 6:41. This was 3 minutes ago. I'm going to take a look at those wind velocities to see how things are going. They look like there's a lot of noise in here, but the area looks like it's subsiding a little bit. Let me just take a look here. Yeah, so we're kind of getting down into the 70s now with this day, with the data as this is getting closer. So the winds look to be improving, which would be good news for those folks near Moose Jaw or south of Moose Jaw. I'm just going to back this up and show you guys how this moved across the border here. And you can see that bright area, but look how small it is now compared to where it was before. So this is at 6:11 p.m., so about half an hour ago, and you can see the wind field right now is reducing and those wind speeds are going down. Still going to be very windy in here, but it's a much smaller pocket of it, and it is tucked in between, I guess, Highway 2 and 13, basically in that area. Is where most of the wind is. Again, 85 kilometers an hour. This is off the surface. This is not on the surface, but you're still going to have some decently strong 60 to 70 kilometer hour winds on the surface as this moves north. But those numbers are improving, so that's a good sign. I'm just going to take a look here to see this thunderstorm warning. There still expires in 2 hours. And they were calling for damaging wind, obviously heavy rain and loony to ping pong ball sized hail. I'm a little skeptical of that. I guess the possibility is there that it would produce that, but right now I'm not seeing anything on radar that would tell me that there's any sizable hail embedded in this, because we've only got oranges and reds with a bit of dark red in certain areas. And usually for us to get into hail, we've got to see those pinks and purples. So again, thankfully this event is unfolding a lot less severe than we were expecting. So, which is obviously making it difficult to talk about things, because there's not a whole lot to talk about right now other than obviously those winds that are moving up towards Moose Jaw. And the rain is just outside of Moose Jaw at this point. Let me just measure the distance here. So we're roughly to the edge of the moderate rain, 13 kilometers to your south. So moving up that way and making its way out of there. And then again, the stuff on the Montana side, I'm curious what that's going to do. There is some rotation on the Montana side. Let's take a look at that. Definitely looks like, obviously on the Montana side, so we don't need to worry about it in Canada. But if you are watching from the US, we do have some folks watching. There is some rotation, but nothing that jumps out at me that I would be concerned about, like I was to the south there. There was a, where was this? South Dakota? Yeah, this area right in here would definitely have my attention as far as rotation, because you can see those bright greens right next to the reds. And there's another area here further in South Dakota that's obviously concerning, but that's way south of Saskatchewan, so not something we need to worry about right now at this point. So let's go back to reflectivity, and we'll take a look here to see if there's anything else going on. And if you have, sorry, so folks, if you do, you're new to the channel, you want to know where to find us, this is our links to our social media or to our email. We try to have our email on some of the scenes that we have on the live stream, but you can obviously get us at canadianweatherlive@gmail.com. Obviously on Facebook, Instagram, X, and then we do have a merch store if you want to check it out to help support us. We've got some shirts in there, mugs, stickers, tank tops, and a few other things. You get something nice, and it helps support the channel, so we make a couple of bucks off of it. But yeah, that's where you can find us as far as our social media is concerned. So have Zero Z, what time is it? I'm trying to figure out, because we're on a different time zone. Zero Z's not out for another half an hour or so, right?
Yes, HRRR comes out just past 9, but
Yeah,
the NAM
the
is
NAM
a bit later. Yeah,
is an hour after that as well. So
yeah.
for those that are asking or wondering what I'm talking about, Zero Z, there's different model times that they come out, and the ones we look at is kind of Zero Z, 6Z, 12Z, 18, and back to zero again. Those are the models that we look at mostly. And so our latest model run on the high resolution rapid refresh comes out in about 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So that'll show us for the next roughly 48 hours. And then the NAM comes out after that, and it stretches even further. So uh, Chris, good to see you in the chat. How's it going? Can you turn down the heat by chance? And unfortunately, you're not going to like what's coming this week, Connor. If you want to fill them in on what Chris from Eastern Ontario, just so folks understand, so that you can tell him what he's in for, what he's won.
So, as we said, Eastern Ontario specifically, very warm this week. This is almost certainly going to be the first heat warning of the summer. We're looking at daytime highs between 31 and 35 without the humidity, from, let's say, Tuesday through Friday, somewhere in there. A 3 to 4 day stretch of very hot weather, very humid weather, and stuff like that. So if you're not a lover of heat, I wouldn't recommend doing anything this week coming up in Eastern Ontario. That's for sure.
Yeah, even into Western Quebec, definitely going to be a
Yes,
hot
but
one.
yes, well,
Uh,
yeah. Realistically, it's just all of Ontario actually, and Western Quebec.
Yes, there's some outlooks that I've been looking at from Environment Canada for Ontario, and I mean it almost covers the entire province for heat warnings. Literally, I don't even think I've ever seen that, but it's almost the entire province. I'm actually going to see if I can pull it up, just so we can show folks what Environment Canada is thinking here. So give me a sec. I'll get into the archive, not the archives, but the data feed here. Thunderstorm outlooks, Ontario. Let's see, that's not it. Wow. I just noticed that they put out a outlook for Kenora to Thunder Bay on
Oh yes.
Monday and they've already included the tornado slinky in that one. So that's not good. Where am I missing? I saw this picture today. I must be. Of course, I can't find it. What is this? When you want to find stuff, you can't always find it quick and easy. This is the one. I'll share this with folks here. So let me bring this up. This is what was put out and you can see heat warnings, and anywhere from 29 degrees Celsius is the low temperature up to 36 degrees Celsius, so down by Windsor. And this is for, they are calling this for Tuesday from midnight to Wednesday at midnight, so from on the 30th basically. But we are talking temperatures even up north, with Moosonee, just to the edge of Moosonee through Timmins, Thunder Bay, 29 to 31 Celsius in Ontario, 35 to 38 on the Humidex. Area E down by Windsor, Humidex of up to 45. Around the Golden Horseshoe there, around Toronto up to Niagara, they are calling for 42, Humidex with 34 degrees Celsius. So, yeah, definitely some warm weather coming up for Ontario, and that's just one day. That's not even taking into account the rest of the week and everything else that's going on. So, it's definitely going to be an interesting situation. For weather coming through Canada, and we are going to be covering the prairies, going to be covering Eastern Ontario, Northern Ontario, Western Quebec, as well into Quebec, I suspect. So we are going to be dancing a lot here on the live stream. And again, luckily starting out a little bit quieter right now with this one here. Again, not sure how long this is going to persist for. It doesn't look like it's intensifying. And the rain is just about to get into Moose Jaw, as you can see here along the Trans-Canada, and it is only moderate heavy to light rain. And then to the east of Moose Jaw is going to be a little bit more where those bright reds are. And there's a little bit of pink down here, just 1 pixel, so there may be tiny hail in that. But again, that's where that heavy rain is, where you see those oranges and reds. And then I'll switch over to our wind velocities, and those are starting to subside as well. The area is reducing. It is still windy in there. Let me see, I'll use our inspector tool here. Still some 80-kilometer-hour winds, but as you move north, they are subsiding. So the wind event is dying down a little bit here, which is great. At times when it was crossing the border, we had some 100-kilometer-hour wind gusts or more. I think the highest I saw was 108, I believe. So this, as it's gotten into those cooler temperatures, that's what happens with storms when they, move into an environment with less good air in front of it that it can't feed off of. It tends to weaken them. So that's good for everybody in front of it. What else have we got here? If memory serves me, I believe there was some discussion about hyping up some sunshine. Yes, there was definitely some discussions about that. So the only problem with the sunshine, well, I have no problem hyping the sunshine up. It's the heat and the humidity. Those can be killers, unfortunately, where people can't get cooled down. Elderly people, that's where, unfortunately, it starts impacting people in a bad way. They, hopefully will have some cooling centers opened, especially in those, southwest Ontario, around Toronto, the Horseshoe area, where people can get in if they don't have air conditioning. Because 34 degrees Celsius to 36 Celsius, I'd be melting. Quite honestly, I'm not good with heat, so I would definitely be melting in that regards. But I'll hype the sunshine all day long. So what else is going on here? Janet saying, hey, so here, I'll bring this one up on the, oh, somebody beat me to it. That would be Connor. So, Janet, hello. So it'll be fairly safe to sleep in Western Manitoba tonight. Thank you. It does look pretty good at this point. There are storms back to the southwest that are moving up. But these are going to be after dark. Right now, none of them. Again, North Dakota, Montana border. I'm just taking a look here to see what they look like. At this point, they don't look like anything too intense. And we'll continue to monitor it, but I think you're fairly safe there. Connor, did you look at any models as far as what's unfolding right now, how that's affecting things for Manitoba into the overnight? But maybe you can comment there or not.
I mean, it's Manitoba's probably gonna have some storms in the middle of the night there, Janet. It's just a matter of how far can they sustain themselves in a severe fashion to a certain extent into the middle of the night past dark. So we'll have to wait and see how that unfolds a little bit further, and then. But it is moving very slowly, so it's definitely a middle of the night, if not really early morning, for
Correct.
Western Manitoba there.
Yeah, and there's no severe watch out for Manitoba for the overnight, so that's another factor that's good. So we don't have a severe thunderstorm watch for that area, and that bodes well for storms. Yes, they may be some thunder and lightning and rain overnight, but it's not going to be of the high severe potential. So again, things unfolding a little less than was expected. And right now in southwest Manitoba, we're only seeing temperatures of 21 and 19 degrees. So just on that threshold of where severe is not really realistically possible for the most part, depending on other conditions, obviously. But that's always a good sign when the temperature is lower. It helps to keep those severe components down, naturally in that regard. So, again, not much happening here on the Saskatchewan side, even though that there was some potential there as well. So, um, yeah, there's definitely going to be some severe weather in Ontario this week, and probably uh, definitely going to be throughout Ontario from northwest all the way to eastern and southern Ontario. And yeah, our Toronto, yes, I get that you were, having fun with it in terms of hyping up the sunshine. But I think we're getting too much sunshine on Tuesday in Ontario for some people. And yeah, again, the heat, that's going to be a killer. So, uh, Chris O'Malley's like me. He doesn't like the heat. Working in the heat all day sucks, and it actually drains your energy levels. So I totally understand that one. So oh yeah, heat wave in Europe has definitely cost a few lives out that way. Yes, they're not. I mean, in UK, they definitely don't even really have air conditioning for the most part. So yes, it's when the heat waves come through, it does cause problems. Okay, let's switch over here. Look at the velocities on this. This is 6:53 p.m., so we should have a new one here any moment because our window or our cycle for scans is about 8 minutes. So we're on the cusp of one here. Rain will be in Moose Jaw here. I'm just going to wait for the next scan, and we'll see whether anything jumps out at us here. But again, it looks like what we've been kind of paying attention to. They haven't moved the severe warning any further north. That's also an indicator that things have weakened off somewhat. So some moderate rain into Moose Jaw, still kind of south of there with this orange, which is on the moderate heavy side. And then let's just take a look at our winds here. And the winds are definitely dying down here, Connor. Good news. We've got a very small pocket tucked in back here, just kind of southeast and east of Assiniboia, but far smaller than what was there before. I'll load the cycle here and just take a look at it and back it up. You can see how broad that area was with those big winds as it crossed the border here. You can see that, and then it has constantly, over the last 7 or 8 scans, it has been shrinking to the point where it's almost dissolved those heavier winds. So after that, I don't know what I'm going to talk about because when we have no more winds, the rain here again is nothing of too serious, other than when you get into those darker reds. Obviously, quite a bit of rain and precipitation in there with these lightning bolts that you're seeing. So the lightning is tucked in along this arch right here in this area. That's where most of our I can't call it, it's sub-severe at this point. Oh God, what happened there? Just deleted everything. I wouldn't even call this severe at this point because, again, they are not extending this box. This yellow box isn't being extended further north at this point. So Environment Canada is seeing the downtrend on the winds and the rain and all that kind of stuff. So I suspect that this is just going to be allowed to expire. I'm just seeing how much longer. They've got another hour on it. But they'll probably expire that severe warning there soon, I suspect. I'm just going to look back into Montana just to see these storms have parked themselves there. that would cause flash flooding. Let me take a look here. I'm going to turn on my US warnings, but I'm just going to change a couple of things before I do. Let's go with Montana. Yeah, luckily in the States, we can pick what state we want. Up in Canada right now, we don't have that option for warnings and alerts. That is coming, but it's one of the things that they're setting up for the software. So let me just take a look and see if we've got any flash flood warnings in here. So they got severe thunderstorm warnings for this line down in the U.S. on the Montana side. And some stronger winds, heavy rain, but no flash flooding right now. However, these storms look like they've parked themselves there for the most part. They haven't really moved out of that area, as you're going to see here when they propagate and get wider. And they're trailing to the south, so it's just going to be this conveyor belt of moisture. And again, overnight, I suspect Saskatchewan is going to see quite a bit of rain wherever this moves into. And as long as it trails through the evening, that's going to be the biggest thing that they'll have to deal with, is just that heavy rain. Obviously, lightning associated with that as well, but it shouldn't be much more than that at this point. So,
Chris O'Malley
yeah, I
asking
just saw that.
weather network is saying scattered showers and 60% chance of thunderstorms for me on Canada Day. What are you guys thinking about that, or is it too early to say? So as we said, Chris O'Malley is in Ontario. So Ontario specific question. Canada Day, not only is it blazing hot, yes, there is at this point, as you know, things can change. It's we're talking to you on Saturday, and we're Canada Day is on Wednesday, right? So we're still, 4 days out. Um, but there is a good chance at this point for some severe weather on Canada Day. To what extent is unknown at this point, but some of the parameters and models pretty well across the board, showing some severe weather on Canada Day. So obviously we'll have more updates for that on the Ontario side, but we have to make it through today in Saskatchewan, tomorrow in Manitoba and Saskatchewan, um, Monday in Manitoba and northwestern Ontario, and then maybe Tuesday in Ontario before we can get to Canada Day. So lots of stuff to cover before then, but yes, Canada Day does look like some thunderstorms for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that Tuesday, Wednesday look like potential for severe weather in Ontario in Eastern Ontario and Southern Ontario. So, but we will update that, like Connor said, several days out still. But pay attention, because this upcoming week, this is the most active pattern we've seen, I think, in quite some time, especially for Eastern Ontario. There's potential for like 3-4 days in a row of severe, and I say potential, that doesn't mean it's going to happen. So as things unfold here, we like today, this is definitely not unfolding the way we expected here in Saskatchewan, and the same thing could happen tomorrow. You just never know with weather. So that's why we stay as current as possible, and we don't put predictions out too far ahead as well, just because it changes so often. So let's continue to monitor what's going on here at the border. I don't see anything just other than regular thunderstorms, sub-severe, essentially at this point. And then again, this is 7:05 p.m., so this is our latest update. Rain just making its way into Moose Jaw, still kind of south at Bushel Park, where the airport is. There's some heavy rain in there, and stretching southeast and then almost straight south from there, down back to the U.S. border. And let's take a look at those wind velocities. And again, that area of wind is even shrinking even more. Still small pocket of it where we've got these elevated winds right here in this area. But that is slowly but surely reducing. This would reflect probably about 60 to 70 kilometer-hour winds on the surface, roughly. Again, this is 5,000 feet off the ground, so a little less at the surface usually with that kind of stuff. So But it is improving as this continues to move through. And then we're looking southeast of there at this point. So, Janet, you're welcome. Glad we could answer your question. As far as Manitoba is concerned, do be weather aware tomorrow. We did show some outlooks for the Manitoba side and the Saskatchewan side tomorrow. We do need to look at models and see what looks different at this point with how things are unfolding, but there was potential for some higher end severe stuff tomorrow in the Manitoba area. And I'm actually going to bring it up because I think there's, I'm pretty sure there's, this is today. Let me swing it over that's tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, and there's, I believe Brandon has Country Fest or something like that, a big outdoor event going on. Is it Country Fest?
It's in Dauphin, but yes, it is a country
Oh,
fest.
Dauphin. Yes. Sorry, it's not Brandon. I'm sorry. It's Dauphin, which is way up here. So, big outdoor event, right kind of in the bullseye of the orange here. And again, Environment Canada talking about 110-kilometer-hour winds, over 2-inch hail, 100 millimeters of rain, and the risk of tornadoes. So, tomorrow in Manitoba and on the Saskatchewan border could be higher end severe, but we still don't know. Again, everything today is unfolding differently than expected. So that always has that butterfly effect where it affects what's happening the next day and the next day after that. So there we go. Somebody was just asking about Dauphin, Manitoba, and that's what we're expecting for tomorrow. Right now, in Dauphin this evening, there's nothing going on. There's showers to the west. There may be some storms that move in overnight, but again, not expecting anything too majorly severe in the morning. It's the afternoon and evening tomorrow that has the higher potential when we get that surface heating happening from the sun, and obviously the environment has the time to destabilize, basically. So, okay, yeah, I'm not too sure what else, what's going
Well,
on
I
here.
guess I guess I can touch on another reason why models haven't really performed um, in regards to like getting the forecast correct to a certain extent. Um, so one thing it contributes to models being more accurate or less accurate, and that is weather balloon launches. Okay, so when either the National Weather Service or Environment Canada launches a weather balloon, all that data that the balloon um, gets from when they launch it, it goes way up into the atmosphere. All that data that it gets put into the weather models that allow us to do our forecast, meteorologists to do their forecast, Environment Canada, National Weather Service, you name it, whatever. Um, when we don't have balloon launches happening, we don't get that data. So that means the models also don't get that data. And that is making it really hard, especially out west and in the central US there. There's almost no balloon launches going on from the National Weather Service. And that's making the models have a really hard time giving more accurate information in terms of what's going to happen with this storm, the timing, the severity of it, um, what we can expect for basically the whole day of it, and that is really giving a lot of people problems, us included. Um, and that's that's just one small piece of the puzzle as to why models are not showing correct things to a certain extent across much of the US and in Canada as well. It affects really all of North America, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and I just highlighted roughly the area where they're not doing any balloon launches anymore because of the administration. The way so they've canceled the balloon launches, which obviously less data means less accuracy. So roughly where this orange circle is, that's a very large area. Obviously, that's just rough, but it's a good portion of that general area where you're not getting those balloon launches, which is obviously causing accuracy issues with the models, as Connor was alluding to. So, um, yeah, Squeezel asking about Estevan here, and right now there's nothing happening in Estevan. There are storms to the southwest of Estevan right now. They are in Montana and crossing over into North Dakota. These are marching north. However, are doing it at an absolute snail's pace. So I would expect Estevan to see some thunderstorms overnight, most likely sub-severe or non-severe, depending how you want to word it. And obviously rain overnight. We do know that corner of Saskatchewan is quite saturated over the last few weeks with some of the amount of rain they've had. We did a live stream, I want to say less than a week ago, or maybe a week ago, where we had about 6 inches of rain in that very southeast corner east of Estevan. So overnight, you're going to see that these storms are going to make their way up there, and more than likely non-severe, based on the way they're looking right now. And we'll see as they get closer to the border, but you can see how they're coming up. But it's an overnight thing for Weyburn, Estevan, and kind of moving north from there. We were expecting storms to kind of turn eastward a little bit. I'm not sure if that's going to happen the way things are going right now. Connor, thoughts on that? Maybe if you think they're still going to turn east at this point, or...
They definitely should be turning east at some point. I would be just for the evolution of the system for tomorrow. I would they have to turn east at some point, unless of course, of course the models might get that wrong, and the system for tomorrow may be a little bit further west. Who knows, right? But these definitely should be taking a more northeast turn at some point for sure.
Yeah, I think I'm going to just highlight it here on the radar for you, just so you can see on the stream. I suspect this cluster of storms down here in the far southwest corner of North Dakota are going to head off eastward, northeastward, I should say. They're going to kind of head in this general direction. The cluster that is in Montana and right on the border is going to head more north in terms of heading up to Saskatchewan. That's what I'm seeing here on the radar. You can kind of already see the motion south by Bowman, North Dakota. They're kind of marching northeast, whereas the rest of the storms on the Montana-North Dakota border are just almost heading straight north, essentially. So I think that's how things are going to unfold, those storms way back, and they will make it up. Again, this is an all-night event where this line is just going to march up to Canada, but it is going to swing further out to Manitoba. And then hopefully overnight it is non-severe. That's what we're hoping for at this point. So what else? Yeah, go ahead.
I think especially in like the southeastern corner of Saskatchewan, um, obviously they're going to cancel that tornado watch as we said before. Like there's no tornadoes going on tonight at all. But I would expect basically every single thing that comes across the border is probably going to get severe warned, just simply based on the fact that they're moving so slow. Um, Essentially, they're going to use the severe thunderstorm warning as a flash flood warning to a certain extent. Because they're moving so slow, right? So I would expect a bunch of severe warnings in Saskatchewan when they come up.
Yeah, you're right. I have to remember that in Canada, we don't have the flash flood warnings. And so severe components for thunderstorms in Canada is 50 millimeters of rain. That's the kind of the threshold. 3 centimeter hail or 90-kilometer-hour wind gusts. Any one of those three can trigger severe thunderstorm warning. It can be just the rain, or it can be all three of them. So yes, Connor is absolutely right that these are not moving very quickly, and some of them are raining very hard, quite downpours, and so that portion of it could be severe. But in terms of the wind and the hail, I don't think you're going to see that overnight from any of these storms. It's going to be just the heavy downpour. They have shrunk back this severe watch or severe warning area. They kind of chewed away part of the left side of it, and they're just leaving it here for this line marching northward at this point. So I'm just going to click on it to see what they've updated. If they haven't put anything, they've just used the same wording: producing damaging wind gusts, quarter size hail, and heavy rain. But you can see that jagged edge of that left side used to stretch kind of all the way to this box to the left here, where that red line is for the tornado watch. So they're shrinking it back just for that heavy precipitation at this point on the Canadian side, obviously. So I'll move that up. And right now that rain has sort of moved into Moose Jaw, the heavier rain still making its way up there. I'm going to take a look at our wind velocities, and they're almost still windy in this small little pocket here. Haven't moved far out from that area. But in here, it would have been windy for the last, several hours. And that's almost shrunk down to nothing at this point. So that was where our heavier winds of 70 kilometers an hour, that kind of thing, was. So let's switch over back to reflectivity. And again, we're going to see this kind of panning out overnight. So it's an extended event in terms of precipitation. What else? Oh yeah, this was in regards to our comments about the weather balloons. Yes. And we definitely are lacking the information. Same thing happened actually during COVID when, believe it or not, when they fly planes, they actually get weather data from commercial airliners flying passengers. So when the volume of passenger planes flying across the world, diminished to almost nothing, it impacted weather models because they couldn't get that data. And so planes actually act as probes as they cross the country, giving data as to what's in the atmosphere up there. So same thing happened at COVID. Models became kind of wonky and just not reliable. So we're seeing that same thing because we don't have that we don't have those weather balloons going up. So the thunderstorm warning here back to the west, kind of southwest of La Flèche. There's not really much to no town I can point out here. This one is expiring. I would expect this one has expired or about to expire. No, they've still got it there. I'm not too sure why there would be a severe, there's just some rain unless this is stalled out. And again, this would maybe be that flash flood. Yeah, so these storms are just parked over here. That's why that severe warning is there. That is going to be for rainfall that is just continuous and not really moving off south of swift current. So that's what's going on there. That's why it's still active at this point. And what else? Close to nothing in Saskatoon. And yes, you are still way far north of this whole system. Most of the precipitation is kind of moving off to the northwest, so going through North Battleford and up to Lloydminster, and I'll show you how that's progressing. But yeah, Saskatoon would have had just the very edge of some of these little storms here, but just moving basically off to the west. Overnight, you might catch some very minor isolated showers and, throughout the evening or throughout the overnight hours into the morning, I should say. That's basically it. So nothing to worry about up there. And the severe watch is way to the south of Saskatoon. So right now, I would expect Regina to get a bunch of rain overnight. Some of these storms to the south are going to move up into that area. Suspect the same thing for Weyburn and Estevan. And then again, we are talking about, let me switch over here, where this, there's some rotation here. Sorry, I'm just going to switch over just to see what's going on here. Don't think that's anything to worry about yet, but that's on the Montana side, still quite a ways from the border. But where you're starting to see this arch coming out of this line, that is where the direction of the storms is going to change. So I'm going to highlight this as it goes back here. These storms are now headed in northeast direction. So those are the ones that are going to end up in Manitoba. And the rest of this kind of along the top portion of this arch is essentially moving north. These are just heading straight up like this. So that's why I'm saying that I figure Estevan, Weyburn, and Regina are going to get these storms coming in. Obviously, there could be more storm development that happens either out ahead of this line or even behind it. But roughly what's unfolding now, that's what you can expect for weather. So this is going to head up into that southwest corner of Manitoba. Again, early tomorrow morning, because these are not moving very quickly. So overnight into early tomorrow morning at this point. So, and then I'm going to watch this area actually right here just to see what that little circle that's rotating. That's obviously an indicator for us on our software. It only works on the US radars right now, just indicating there's possible rotation in there. So I'm just watching to see. It's picking up all this rotation that's kind of mixing in there. I don't suspect there's anything there to too much worry about. It's not really, it's not right in the right spot, but you can have quick spin ups that happen in a line of thunderstorms as well. But this looks very, excuse me, disorganized. So not expecting a whole lot out of that at this point, but I will monitor it. So, what else? Yeah, that's basically where we're at right now.
There's not even any tweets going on. No, nobody's posting anything. Everybody's bored out there.
Yes, from a storm chasing perspective, if we don't see stuff on social media, we know that the storms are not doing what storm enthusiasts or storm chasers want, because they're just regular rain showers or regular thunderstorms. When you start seeing a lot of social media posts going up, we had a tornado in Ontario the other day, southwest Ontario, while we were on our live stream. I'm sure some of you watched it. And Glencoe, Ontario, where that took place, and you could tell because all of a sudden all these social media posts were going up from multiple sources, showing a wall cloud, then showing obviously a funnel, and then eventually a tornado. So that's an easy way to tell when things are ramping up or not. And again, right now there's not much going on. So this is, again, I don't, not a lot we can talk about here. If you have other questions and it's weather related, please fire them in the chat. We'll do our best to answer them. Obviously, the Alberta side of things, quite a bit of rain. These are all rainfall warnings, but they're for the weekend. Like, I believe they're good for 2 days. Yes. So all these rainfall warnings are going to expire in 2 days. We're still expecting a ton of rain over the weekend. Just looking at this one here, 90 millimeters of rain to the north and around Edmonton, and they already had a ton of rain as far as that's concerned. Can you look up Connor Kyle's forecasts? I think he posted something about this being the either the wettest June ever on record for Alberta or for Edmonton, and I can't remember which of the two it was.
It is the wettest June on record for Edmonton. You are correct.
Okay. It was Edmonton. It wasn't all of Alberta, but Edmonton definitely getting the most amount of rain. I did notice that on his social media there. So, what else is here? Flooding in Regina. The streets filled up fast, got soaked. Rain came down hard, and that would have been early this afternoon. I want to say around maybe actually even earlier than that, 1 to 2 o'clock. In the Regina area. Our radar won't go, well, actually, it will go that far. I can take a look at it just to bring it up while we're talking about it. I'll load this up, and we can see this is going to go way back. So right, where was this line of storms that came in? There was a bit of rain, and then this exploded over Regina. This was 2:17 p.m. So you can see this heavy, intense precipitation. There was really not a whole lot. And then the line just kind of exploded with all this rain. So that was for almost an hour of pretty heavy rain. So not surprised to hear about the flooding in Regina earlier this afternoon. We were kind of watching that before we came on, and trying to figure out what was going to unfold this afternoon and evening. And that was probably one of the parameters that didn't allow the environment to recover fast enough. So it kept the severe component much lower this evening and overnight. So
I guess if you're in Regina tonight, I would definitely kind of be a little bit more worried about the rain just simply because of what you had this afternoon. There's lots and lots of flooding going on in the city, whether it be residential or street flooding and stuff like that. But this is kind of slowly heading in your general direction again if you're in Regina. So um, probably don't need this rain at all after this afternoon, but it's definitely a little bit more coming there. So expect some more flooding on top of what's already happened.
Yeah. Also getting a comment here from Liv saying maybe it's just my imagination, but it feels like there's so much flooding going on so far in Canada. And we actually talked about it because we've seen a lot of flooding events. Southeast corner of Saskatchewan, 2, 3 weeks ago, Winnipeg, north of there, 250 millimeters of rain. South of Montreal, probably a week ago, had 150 millimeters of rain. And then now we're talking about Edmonton having the wettest June on record. So yes, there is definitely a lot of rain coming all at once, not spread out into, light rain where it's raining for a day or two. That's fine. It's we're just getting these really intense pockets of rain that are just dumping onto a smaller area and obviously causing that flooding. So I don't think it's your imagination. We definitely have noticed it ourselves, just with the coverage we've been doing and just seeing what people are talking about, that kind of stuff. So for sure. The British Canadian saying lots of rain in Moose Jaw at the moment, and there's more coming to Moose Jaw. This kind of from the southeast is going to slowly move up that way, and I'll show you how this is kind of unfolded for Moose Jaw right now. You can see that rain pushing up, just getting in there at this point. So there is more rain headed your way, but some of it's going to make its way eastward of Moose Jaw, between Moose Jaw and Pence, and kind of between Moose Jaw and Regina. But eventually it's going to get into Regina, like Connor was mentioning, and over to, I suspect, Weyburn is going to get some overnight, and Estevan, we've been saying, as these storms from Montana kind of make their way up. And they're continuing to kind of push up, but very, very slowly. So the biggest component we're dealing with there is going to be rain. I'm just going to look at our velocity scan here. Definitely a velocity scan that has my attention here with this rotating circle on the Montana side. I'm going to turn back my warnings for the US. I usually don't keep them on. Is Montana selected? Yes, Montana is selected as well. And they've just got this as a severe warning. They don't have anything tornado warned at this point, and I'm not surprised. This just looks like mixing happening within the leading edge of the storms as they're moving through. It doesn't look like it's in the right spot, but there's definitely some rotation in that area, so that's why the software is picking up on it. Let's switch back to Canadian and turn that off, and then move up to here. So again, these storms are moving northward at this point. You can see the progression here over the last hour and a half roughly, and coming up to the Saskatchewan border soon. Lots of heavy rain in there, but I am starting to see where you had some pinks and purples in here. And as this is progressing, I'm starting to see that the outer edges are turning. There's more yellow and more orange in there, and the red is going away. So as this is moving north, they may be losing a bit of that intensity because, again, we are getting closer to the sun going over the horizon, which also causes storms to weaken and not have as much potential once it gets dark. So that's what's looks to be going on right now, and we can actually check our temperatures here and just see if that's the case as well in terms of the environment. So you can see right now where those storms have been parked: 20 degrees Celsius, 19 degrees Celsius here in Sydney in the center. To the east, where there's been no real precipitation, still showing 25 degrees Celsius and kind of low 20s northeast of there. So those environments have not had storms in them. where these storms have moved out of. We've got, Beach has 16, Baker 15, Bowman 16. So once those storms have gone through the area, temperature drops significantly, and there's just not as much energy available for storms after the fact. So hopefully they continue to weaken and they're just regular non-severe showers as they move through the U.S.-Canada border, and that way we're not dealing with anything too severe on the Canadian side. The only thing, like Connor mentioned earlier, was because they're moving so slowly and raining so much, you may get a severe warning for just heavy precipitation, 50 millimeters of rain in a short amount of time. So what else is going on here? British Canadians saying lots of lightning and thunder now, and that's that line moving into Moose Jaw, coming up from the U.S., and that's going to be up in here. So yes, you're definitely over some moderate to moderate heavy rain with those orange and red colors in there. Lightning associated with it, but due south of you, there's not a ton of rain. It's more yellow and then green and blue, so that's good. The rest of this stuff to the southeast is going to go kind of to the east side of Moose Jaw and slowly work its way over just to the west side of Regina would be my guess at this point. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then let me just take a look here. Okay. So I'm from Edmonton and it has been sunny all day, but giant clouds have surrounded us. That's from Goon Stomper. And you guys have rain expected over the whole, weekend and into Monday. That's why you've got all these watches out here for rainfall warnings. So still rain coming your way over the next several days, and obviously an extremely saturated area for the last month, getting a ton of precipitation up in that area as well. So any rain in that area is it just doesn't have anywhere to go anymore. The ground is just not able to absorb it for the most part. So, okay. Severe warning hasn't moved north, which is good. Back here on the Saskatchewan side, they still have this warning good for another 2 hours. And I guess that's more for the rain than anything. That's why they're leaving it there at this point. Again, they're going to be for rain tonight primarily. Let's take a look at winds. Sorry, I haven't looked at the wind velocities in a bit there, and they're almost gone at this point. I mean, there's still obviously wind in here. However, we're talking 60 kilometers an hour or less at this point within the line. So again, that portion has improved since this all crossed the border. It was doing 100 kilometers plus in terms of winds behind that line. So that's fantastic for people out in front of this, that the winds are subsiding. So Goon Stomper saying, by the way, people like you are way better than the news. I appreciate that. And again, people that are new to the channel, Connor and myself have been storm chasers for about 12 years, and that's where our experience comes from. I appreciate the kind words. We started this channel a year ago just to get accurate information as it's happening to the people that are in the path of this kind of weather. Obviously, today we're reporting on the positive side of things that it's not as bad as expected, and that's what we prefer. We tend to try and turn the volume down or the temperature down on rhetoric and, hyping stuff up and fear-mongering. There's plenty of channels that'll do that for you. We're not one of them. Generally, we're happy to tell you that things are not as severe or as bad as you think, or as bad as models predicted for some situations. So, yeah. What else? Okay, so I think I'm caught up on comments there. Not sure. And is there anything else we can talk about while we wait for the next scan here? We're about 2 minutes out. Bit of a struggle tonight, folks. I appreciate everybody sticking with us that's been here. Normally have more to talk about, but we literally have one severe thunderstorm warning just for rain at this point, which obviously I can only repeat myself so often. And then we're watching the stuff in the US. That's essentially what is what our focus is on. But Connor, while you were gone, I noticed that the precipitation to the south looks like it's breaking up. and not as intense. There's a lot less red involved, and there's more orange and yellow over the last 3 or 4 scans, I would say maybe 5 scans. So that's a good sign, I think, for people in southeast Saskatchewan and definitely into Manitoba. So,
Yeah, that giant cluster on the Montana and North Dakota border. Um, that's still going to come up for sure.
uh-huh.
And then if you go even further south into South Dakota, you can kind of see um, the Boeing segment has definitely developed itself there.
Yeah.
And that if that makes it up to Manitoba, it'll be in the middle of the night, as we said before, maybe even early in the morning. But it's a bit until anything kind of happens on the Canadian side of the border. But as I said before, that big cluster coming up from the Montana and North Dakota side is likely going to be the next severe thunderstorm portion simply due to that rain. There's nothing much else going on other than obviously there's a little bit of wind involved as well. But it's mostly just due to the fact that they're moving so slow and so much rain all at once.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So this cluster here that I've circled is moving north basically. The rest of this is going to move somewhat northeast as this progresses. And you can see I've kind of highlighted that where this is progressing to. So slowly but surely, these are going to head up. And same thing in this general direction. Obviously, I don't have all the radars turned on. I can do this. I can throw composite on, which kind of combines all the radars just so people understand. This just throws all the radars together. And you can clearly see what's happening here. We have a couple of Boeing Echo regions that are kind of moving out, and those are going to head up overnight into Canada, as Connor was pointing out. Sorry about that. Okay. What else is going on here? Dave saying heavy rain MJ. Where's MJ? Or is that
Moose
I'm
jaw.
not Moose Jaw, of course. See, thank you. I'm old. What do you want? Um, so thank you, Dave. Appreciate for that. I just was not sure of the acronym, but yes, heavy rain right now in Moose Jaw, as you can see here by the radar representation. Still got that bright orange sitting in there. I'm going to switch from composite and just go right to our closest radar here. Just moving to the north side of Moose Jaw and then to the south, because this is all moving north. There's kind of moderate to mild rain. And then eventually you're going to get into, possibly very little rain or no rain at all if this all just keeps moving northward into the east. This line that stretches southeast in this general direction is just marching straight up like this, essentially. So obviously going to take more time, but this will come to the west side of Regina over the next several hours is basically what we're expecting out of this line. And the cluster that's down by the border just in Montana is also going to move up that way. So that's why we're saying Regina will get some precipitation overnight, Weyburn as well, and then maybe even into Estevan we'll see some precipitation, and the rest it's going to make its way up into Manitoba from the rest of the storms coming from the south. So let me clear up all my orange that I've drawn all over the place, and we'll stick with this. So can you check the radar that shows you like debris size? So you're talking correlation coefficient. Usually we check that when we've got a tornado on the ground that will show you, if there's any debris in there. Obviously none of this, there's nothing rotating that would have any debris in there. And that would be just this one right here, which is correlation coefficient. But again, we have nothing that would be launching any kind of debris in the air on the Saskatchewan side at this point. So Sam was just asking about Estevan. I think I just highlighted that there's some storms to the southwest that probably will make their way up into there. You may get that severe thunderstorm warning just for the heavy precipitation, because these are not moving quickly and they are dumping a lot of rain at this point. So what else? Oh yeah, so Liv asking about how do the models look for tomorrow? Can you show it in WeatherWise, or is it still better to look at something like Pivotal Weather? So since I've switched over to WeatherWise, I essentially run all my models on here. I'm not going to get too complicated in it, but I can show you guys quickly some models. But we have access when we talk about models. Sorry, this one over here. These are all the models that will run that you can take a look at. That will tell you about weather. So you can see there's like 30 of them that we can pick from. I stick to about 4 of them. And if I'm really questioning things, maybe 5. Connor probably does roughly the same idea. He looks at several of them. And we're just trying to average out what's going on. But yes, this will show you, this is a model, so I want to be clear, this is not what's going on right now. Some platforms will show this as future cast radar, and it's unfortunately just a model that's trying to predict what's going to happen. But yes, we can look at model data in here. This is just reflectivity, but we can look at all sorts of things, wind velocities, temperatures, you know, the whole 9 yards. So I don't want to complicate it on the stream, but yes, we can take a look at all that stuff in WeatherWise. And I like to use it as a platform unless I have to dig into something very specific. I'll have a few other pages that I'll look at, but for now, this is the one I stick to mostly. So let's see what so this thunderstorm warning is now expired. This is south of Swift Current. That storm that was raining there, and that one was for heavy precipitation. They are now expiring this one. The rain is obviously still there, but no longer meets the severe component. The one to the southeast is also expiring, or it has expired in 35 minutes. And we're only left with this one severe warning that is still out here, still good for another 2 hours. And again, it's to do with this line moving up towards Moose Jaw and kind of going to pass between Moose Jaw and Regina as this moves northward. And then all we're doing is waiting for storms coming from the south out of Montana and North Dakota border into Saskatchewan. So
there's a lot of spotter dots in southeastern Saskatchewan that are going home sad.
So that's the only good thing. So where I would rather be right now is out in the field chasing storms. But when there's a bust, my trip home is much shorter than, you know, somebody who's driven 8 hours, 10 hours, 12, whatever it is. So there's pros and cons, obviously, to both sides of what we do. I'm definitely happiest in front of a storm, but this is my new role. And on days like today, I'm happy I don't have to drive anywhere, being sad, because the drive home is definitely a lot longer when you've not had a good day versus you've gotten tornadoes or whatever it is that you're after as a storm chaser. So yes, there's a lot of people in that corner. Goonstomper asking a really good question here, and I'm going to bring it up here. Would you guys say that the Weather Network app is reliable or a good source for weather information? So they specifically use where they cause confusion. And I think it's just the way it's presented is this future cast radar. And I don't think they explain it well enough to folks that is simply a model predicting the future. And again, I just showed you there's 40 different models or 30 different models you can look at that all will have a different interpretation of what's going to happen. And all we're trying to do is analyze the data and take our experience and go, okay, this is what I think is going to happen based on what these models are thinking. The Weather Network presents it like radar, and a lot of people will come into our chat and go, oh, it's supposed to be red at my house at 11 p.m. And as soon as I hear that, I know that they're looking at that future cast radar, and that is just simply a guess as to what's going to happen. What you're looking at on your screen right now is live data coming from the radars, so we can say, okay, this is what's happening, this is where it's headed, with certainty to a certain extent, not 2 hours out, but in the next 20 minutes, I can tell you what's going to happen with pretty good accuracy. So I use WeatherCan is an app that I use for if you're looking for forecast, that kind of stuff. I use that as one of them. Connor, maybe you can comment in terms of apps, what you would recommend for, extended forecasts.
Well, I mean, going back to the Weather Network thing, you do make a great point about the fact that it's like a future cast radar. We've talked about it many times, but um, for other things like temperatures or for whatever, like if you're looking
Yeah.
for the temperature like the next day or whatever, the Weather Network is perfectly fine.
Yes.
And most weather apps are fine for things like temperature and stuff like that. It's just that when you're looking for radar information or whatever, it becomes a little harder when they're showing like a future cast type of thing. But like if just for very very generic information, weather apps are normally fine for temperatures and humidity and stuff like that. But uh, if you're looking for live radar, there's definitely better options than stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm glad you clarified that. Yes, I definitely missed over that and should have said that. Yes, the forecast side of it in terms of, several days out, that is perfectly fine. It's where I get frustrated is with this future cast radar that definitely causes confusion a lot. So, but yeah, the Weather Network and WeatherCan, those are two of the good platforms for just understanding what kind of weather is kind of headed your way. So, what else have we got here? Doppler Dawn saying, I had a nice day. I'm glad to hear that. Always good to hear when people have a nice day and it's not as doomsday as some platforms will tell you. And again, I'm happy when the weather underperforms on the severe side for those folks that get impacted by it, because obviously it's not a good day for them. Goonstomper saying, do you guys get to ignore the speed limits when you are tornado chasing? So no, we are not special. There are storm chasers that think they're special. We are regular people just like anybody else. We have no business driving any faster or any crazier. We need to abide by laws just like anybody else. There's no getting to a tornado that's more important than other folks. So yeah, definitely need to pay attention to speed limits, and especially when you're driving in bad weather. If you're driving in storm chasing and you're in a storm and you're in the core of a storm and it's raining, speed is the last thing you want. If you're doing that, you're doing it wrong. So definitely not, we are not special storm chasers. A lot of them like their flashy lights that they put on them, their vehicles. But in Canada, for example, if you were to run around with those flashy lights, you would get yourself pulled over and get the attention of the local law enforcement because they're not legal. Construction vehicles can have them, that kind of stuff, but just regular Joe Schmo running down the road because he's chasing a storm, flashy lights are not. They're reserved for obviously first responders and emergency vehicles. That's the way it's set up here. So hopefully that answers your question.
The other thing about speed inside of a storm is that um, well, yes, like we're trying to keep up with the storm, right? But if you get caught inside the storm, you don't want to hydroplane. Um, some specific provinces have worse roads than others from a chasing perspective. So it's not the best to go fast when you're inside the storm either, because you don't want to, hit a puddle on the highway or whatever, and it sends you off the road. So
Yeah, and I'm just going to highlight they've updated this thunderstorm watch warning. Sorry, they're still continuing the thunderstorm warning, but they have shrunk the box back. So now the box is reduced all the way back here. Where are we? Let me just see here what they've southeast of Moose Jaw. Basically, they've taken the box and shrunk it back. Originally, the box was drawn all the way out to this line and back across here, so they're just stepping it back till to cut it off where that heavy rain is happening, and that's the only reason is this heavy rain that's tucked in right in this kind of corridor right here. So that's the only update on that, is just for this heavy rain, and they're stepping it back essentially. So that's a good sign, and we're only dealing with heavy rain. And again, I'll switch over to velocities here and take a look, and the winds have subsided. There are definitely winds in these storms, but the high velocity winds have basically been eliminated or have been reduced, so they're not as big a problem. And now we've got rain kind of east of Moose Jaw, between there and Pence, is that heavier moderate rain to moderate heavy rain with those orange and reds, just moving up from the south as well. So a couple of other things here. Steady nonstop rain here, varying in intensity, but I'm not sure where here is. I don't think you've put where your location is, so I don't know where that is. But we appreciate when we do get updates from folks on the ground, just to let us know where the rain is happening and where it's not. Goonstomper saying if I see a tornado in front of me, I'm going to turn around and go as fast as I need to. And yes, if there's a tornado on the ground and you need to get out of the way, there's certain exceptions to that rule, but as a storm chaser, yeah, you definitely don't have those. So not like I said, it's not a free ticket, get out of jail card or anything like that. So live. So this one's interesting. I think you just clicked on literally the same one I did. Speaking of storm chasers, I don't understand chasing blizzards like I saw this past winter. The funny part is the market, people for whatever reason love seeing blizzard storm chases even more than tornadoes sometimes, which is weird for us as Canadians. I see that, and I see Americans watching blizzard storm chases, and I'm like, that's outside my door, 6 months of the year. What are we talking about? But it does generate a lot of views on social media, whether it's Facebook, whether it's whether it's YouTube, whatever. But yes, that stuff gets ingested very quickly for whatever reason. I don't understand it either, but that's the case anyway. So there's a great pizza place in Ojima if you're ever in the area. So we need to mark that on a piece of paper somewhere and store that in our phones, because I've been out. I've storm chased Saskatchewan. It's my favorite actually province to chase in Canada. But last time I was out there was September of last year. That's the last time I was out in Saskatchewan. It would have been mid-September, and it was near Broadview. I have a buddy out that way, so hung out in Broadview and then made my way all the way to almost Vancouver. But that's a good one to know. I do like a good slice of pizza. So what else is going on here? Thomas Beckett saying no rain in Saskatoon. Absolutely. This is still moving up that way. So if this storm continues to push north, it'll probably get into Saskatoon, but that's all it's going to be is rain. I'll bring up the local radar to Saskatoon and show you what kind of transpired this afternoon. Storms literally skirted the western edge of Saskatoon and are moving away northwest. So there would have been, depending where you were in Saskatoon, I'll show you just the loop here close in on that town or city, and it's all to the west and moved northwest from there. So you basically saw no rain depending where you were. And these storms, again, from the south are kind of making their way up there. So if they do sustain, you might see some rain in Saskatoon overnight tonight. So, but yeah. Let me just come back here and take a look at what's going on the U.S. side and see if we've got a couple areas of rotation here coming to the north. By Medicine Lake or Freud. I guarantee you that's pronounced Freud in the U.S., but that's Foix in French. So I'm just looking to see where these velocity scans are in Montana and on the Montana-North Dakota border. Those look like little eddies or something. I don't really... What are your thoughts on them on the U.S. side there by west of Williston, North Dakota? I've actually been there.
Probably oh, it just updated too. It's nothing to worry about as far as I'm concerned at this point. It looks like just really, really embedded, um,
Eddie or
minor
whatever.
circulations
Yeah.
going on, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's kind of what I thought. But while you're here, I might as well get your opinion on it. It's pretty warm in my office with all these lights and computer and everything running. Even with the air conditioning, it's warm in here. Uh, we need to issue a severe pizza warning for Ojima. Get all the
Yeah,
chaser
Crisco,
dots to go there.
if you're still in the chat, Crisco, you should send the pizza place to our email, and we'll mark it on our maps.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we do tag a lot of different things in our software, so we know where things are. And food on road trips is definitely one of them. So, why did you guys start talking about pizza? Now I'm hungry for pizza, and that's going to be my problem. Thankfully, it's 10 p.m. where I'm at, so it'll be bedtime soon, and I won't have to worry about eating pizza. But yes, I'm very easily influenced that way for food. I'm just looking here. Let me just take a look. One sec here. Okay. No new emails. Okay, perfect. I'm just making sure we're keeping up with everything here as much as possible. It's a quiet stream today, folks. Like, again, we're only looking at one area of any kind of severe, potential ongoing right now, and it is only for rain, just basically over Ojima to the north from there. And that's it. They haven't even extended the severe warning up to Moose Jaw or east of there on the Trans Canada. Lots of rain in this kind of comma head or whatever you want to call it, hook giant spiral. But that's all it is. There's barely any lightning involved on that western portion. All of it is tucked in on this east side. And even this is starting to fall apart now that we're at 8 p.m. It's about an hour till dark out there. But if you see here, you can, okay, so let me zoom in and I'll show you what I mean. You can look at the line, see how wide it is. And as it's moving north, and you're going to see that it's slowly going to start reducing, and the orange is almost disappearing out of a lot of the areas, and we're down to very little red, mostly yellow, and just pockets of that heavier precipitation. So it's thinning out in terms of that precipitation. So that's not even going to be warranted there for much longer. And then it's just the stuff coming from the south at this point. And again, I don't expect anything to be severe other than the 50 millimeter threshold. But in terms of winds and any potential hail, that's just not there. There's not even any hail signatures in any of this. And I'm just looking further south here. Let me put up the composite and take a look all the way back. And I'm going to turn the temperatures off just so that it doesn't pollute the map as much. So there we go. So there's our system as it's moving through the northern US into Canada, and I'll just kind of play that out, and you can see how this has progressed. This is just combining all the radars together so you can see where things are moving. It's obviously not perfect, but that shows you what's transpiring. That is for the last hour and 40 minutes roughly. So the stuff in South Dakota has a northeast tract. Most of the stuff in North Dakota has a northeast tract. And the only thing that's kind of coming straight north is right on that Montana North Dakota border, heading up into Saskatchewan overnight. So this is what's unfolding at this point, and I'm not expecting much out of this anymore. What else? Liv saying I went to max velocity and he was not even watching radar, looking at future temperatures, because he's already looking ahead at the next few days, and we're going to do exactly the same thing when we get off the stream. Even if I get off late, I have to kind of unwind, otherwise I can't really go to bed. I don't fall asleep. So he's just doing what we would be doing, looking ahead to tomorrow. And Again, if you are watching, I'm going to show you guys while we're waiting here. It's the outlooks for Canada. So this is what was out for today. Obviously, your yellow is moderate, orange is high. Tomorrow afternoon, this is what the outlook was shaped up to be from Environment Canada. Dauphin has Country Fest. We talked about that briefly on the stream earlier. So we have this orange area, which they are calling for. This was based on today. Parameters. This will change tomorrow more than likely. 110-kilometer-hour winds in that orange area, 7-centimeter hail, which is over 2 inch. 100 millimeters of rain and a risk of tornadoes. This is 1 p.m. Sunday onward at this point. So tomorrow they will update this tomorrow morning, and we'll put out our thoughts on it. The rest of the yellow area, which stretches into Saskatchewan and over to Winnipeg, we are talking 90-kilometer-hour winds, 1.25-inch hail, 4 centimeters roughly, and 50 to 75 millimeters of rain. So still quite a bit of weather for a very large area, as you can see. So west of Moose Jaw, all the way to the east of Winnipeg, and then obviously north from there down to the U.S. border as well. So pretty significant area. This is what the outlook was from Environment Canada earlier today, and again, that will get updated in the morning, and it will look different, I assure you of that. But we'll try and keep folks up to date as far as what's going on there. So Goon Stomper saying, I think today Edmonton beat its record for precipitation this month. Yes, we actually were chatting about it. Edmonton broke the record for June. This is the wettest June that Edmonton has ever experienced on record. So definitely, and there's more rain coming, and there's still several days left in June. So it looks like you guys are going to kind of smash that record to a certain extent in Edmonton. Brad asking, do you have to pay for that data on that app you are using? So they have a free version. You can get access to a lot of stuff that we are showing you here, but the more complicated stuff like access to satellite models, outlooks, which is mining deeper into the data, that is a paid version. We are on the WeatherWise Pro, and it's not expensive. We're not sponsored by them, but I believe it's like $15-16 a month, somewhere in that neighborhood, and it's a phenomenal app. Again, we've switched over to it about 6 months ago, but we can even look up traffic cameras. There's none in Saskatchewan that we have access to, but for example, in Manitoba, if I want to see what's going on TransCanada, if I click on it, I can instantly access a video camera. It is not a video feed. It is just a still image that updates every once in a while, but this is all incorporated with it. So, again, very good tool for lots of good things in there. And we switched 6 months ago, and I won't look back. It's fantastic. And so definitely recommend it there. So, what else have we got here? Whenever it rains, I just stare out my window the whole time. Yeah, that's how I got into weather as a kid. I used to just sit in my parents' garage and watch thunderstorms roll by with the door open, and would just sit there and watch the rain progress there. So Connor's got a sidekick, it looks like.
Yeah, she actually just came in and pushed the door open, scared the crap out of me, and then jumped on me.
Well, you know who's the boss, right? Cats are always the boss.
She runs the show.
Yeah, well, that's it, exactly. So, look, pet me more. You're not paying attention to me. Mark, good to see you on the chat. As always, a very lackluster, severe component today. Definitely had a few failure modes in it. That smoke definitely didn't help things out, and the showers this morning also more than likely affected this outcome. So, yeah. Well, Goon Stomper, I'm not a kid though, yes, but I was doing that as a kid, and I'm 51 years old right now, and I storm chase. So you're never too young or too old to be into weather. It's just my happy place. So, but it started at a very young age where I used to do that. So, Janet saying somebody wants some attention. Absolutely. Sire 605 saying large rain drops in East Regina, and we've had a few little cells kind of pop over here just as this line is forcing its way up. So out in front of this line where that forcing is happening, you're getting kind of isolated popcorn storms happening. What I call popcorn storms. They're just little cells. You can see that, but no lightning on them, and a bit of rain associated with it. But as the line moves north, that's probably going to skirt into Regina. Weyburn is going to get into some rain here coming from the Montana side, and Estevan probably as well. Just as you can see, this stuff moving north, but it's coming very slowly, but it is breaking up compared to what it was earlier. You can see where there's far more yellow and green intruding into that whole complex of precipitation, but there's still quite a bit of lightning on this, so you're going to get a thunderstorm, but more than likely sub-severe, other than if it exceeds that 50 millimeters of rain potential. Then Environment Canada will throw up a severe warning for that particular area if there's heavy precipitation that sits over an area not moving very quickly. So that's what we're expecting overnight at this point coming into Saskatchewan. So
There's quite a few flash flood warnings just south of the border on the Montana side.
yeah, with this cluster here, kind of on the Montana
Yeah,
North Dakota border, yes. So not surprised to see that. Let's see. Let me switch over. I'm using the U.S. radar. We have access to far more information on the U.S. radar, which I love. Let's take a look at storm total precipitation down there in the U.S. So
good idea.
some of these areas down near Wolf Point, you're talking 4 inches of rain. So quite a bit of precipitation. That would be roughly 100 millimeters of rain. Where you're seeing these yellows, there's 5.4 inches, for example. So these are just big rainmakers that are dropping a ton of precipitation as they move very slowly. I'm going to just zoom back out here and see if there's anything else that jumps out at me. Let's see if there's a different. Nah, that radar doesn't have a whole lot of rain because nothing's happened over there. So yeah, this is where you're seeing those greens and yellows. That's where you get into those heavier precipitations. And as they're making their way northward from there, but this is kind of storm total is what they referred to that as, but we don't have that on Canadian radar, so we get to use it on there. So yeah, I don't know what else at this point. Right now,
Yeah,
the
I guess we
severe.
kind of, I guess we kind of just see if they want to severe warn that complex coming across the border in a few minutes. Otherwise, there's not much else to talk about.
No, no, and well, let me zoom back out here. Obviously, on the Alberta side, I'm just looking, there's minor storms, not even any lightning on this, but these are just minor storms south of Edmonton and north of there. But there's these rainfall warnings. That's what the green boxes are. Is for the next 2 days. They don't expire for at least another 2 days. Let's look at around Calgary. There's a bit of a line of storms on the eastern portion of Alberta, but these are just little tiny cells. Essentially, ton of rain in Saskatchewan, obviously on the southern end, and then up north of Saskatoon, heading up through North Battleford into Lloydminster. So that's what's going on there. And they just severe warned it. So that cluster coming over from the Montana side just got severe warned. So gonna look on the south side of Saskatchewan, and that's where the rest of our rain is right now. I'll jump on that severe warning. That's going to be just for heavy rain. And then I'll look into Manitoba. There's basically nothing happening in Manitoba right now. Northeast of Winnipeg, there's just some very minor light showers northeast of Selkirk. And then it was there. Quebec had some storms on the northern side, except our radar up there was not working the last time I checked, and it's still out. That red pill basically tells me that radar is out, so I'm not sure how they warn stuff off of that, but we're not privileged like that. So they just put out a severe warning here on the I guess southern edge of Saskatchewan, right on the basically straddling the Montana North Dakota border. Let's just take a look from here. And they've put this up, thunderstorm warning. Environment Canada tracking severe thunderstorm capable of producing damaging wind gusts up to quarter size hail and heavy rain. And they say capable, meaning the parameters are there. However, this, based on radar, is just a lot of rain coming through the area that's going to be slow moving. This will move up to Weyburn and then eventually up that way. So Regina going to get in some rain here as the line moves forward or north. And kind of tracking along that 39. This will all push north, going to Weyburn and even Estevan. Eventually we'll get in on the game. The rest of it's going to kind of head northeast from there. So that's what's unfolding at this point. And you can totally see where this is pushing northeast versus just north on that radar loop right here. If I zoom into it, let me bring it up to here. So essentially, let me move that down. Right about here on this dividing line, these portions of these storms are heading kind of northeast. I'm exaggerating that a little bit. And the rest of this is moving straight up to the, Saskatchewan border. So that's what's taking place with these storms moving out. Let's see what they're doing here for this severe warning. They've shrunk the box back and now it's tucked into, they finally, look at this. They've put out the information saying the line of thunderstorms is from Truax south to, and I'm going to pronounce it wrong, Bengoff, I think, moving slowly to the north and east. Locations in the path, Horizon, Avonlea, Kayville, Perry, and Pangman are what are being quoted on this. So that severe box got shrunk back there. I assume this southern portion is expiring, but I could be wrong. No, it's still there. And they're just updating this severe warning for that thunderstorm. So this thunderstorm is located south of the U.S. border near Westby, Montana, is tracking north towards Beaubier, Lake Alma, and Radville. So that's what's coming, and they're talking about obviously the heavy rain, wind gusts, and large hail. Although we've not seen any real evidence on radar for any large-sized hail or anything like that coming up that way. So this is what's going to happen throughout the evening as this cluster of storms with the intense rain moves through. They're going to just put out these severe warnings. There's going to be quite a bit of lightning and rain involved with this. The winds, let me check the velocities on this. There's a couple of areas where there's more intense winds. So right here, let's see how far we are from the radar. This is way up from the radar. So this is 12,000 feet off the ground. So that is... that's 2 miles, 3, so that's 2.5 miles. So you're about 4 kilometers up in the sky. Obviously, but they're, not getting to the surface would be the easiest way to describe that. What tilt is that on? I'm just curious. No, that's on the right tilt. Radars have different tilt levels that we can look at. So I was curious if that was just really far away. So there's our two radars. It's kind of right in the middle of it. And then there's the Canadian radar, which is way up to the west of Regina. That's basically where our Canadian radar is. But what's going to happen is they're going to just march these, severe warnings north as this precipitation moves in. But I suspect overnight there's not as much to be concerned about for winds and for that hail component as well. So hopefully that's a good thing. Tom and Connor karaoke. Rick, there's not a chance you could donate $1,000. I'm still not going to sing. So nobody here wants to see or hear me sing. They don't need to see me sing, but they don't need to hear me sing either.
My singing is reserved for the vehicle.
Yeah, yes, when there's nobody else around or it's just your wife. So anyways, cool. Okay. Mark, if you throw $10,000 at the stream, I'll suck it up and I'll start singing. You've got yourself a deal. You throw 10K at me, I'll karaoke on here. We're gonna lose some subscribers, but the 10K will make it worth it. So, Goon Stomper, thank you very much for the donation. Really appreciate that. Also got a question in there saying, is this one of the more active seasons you have seen? I've heard we might have a historic La Nina event this year into next summer. Does that have any relation to all this rain? Do you want to tackle that, Connor?
So it's not a La Nina, it would be an El Nino season this year. So yes, I mean the numbers for the La Ni or El Nino, sorry, is definitely a very, very strong one. Probably one of the strongest ones in history, just based on what the projections are. What that typically means for us here in Canada is that we're probably going to have a bit of a warmer winter, but it kind of remains to be seen if that's really going to affect anything this summer. My personal opinion is that it's probably going to be more of a fall and winter conversation more than it is a summer one for us.
Cool. Okay, thank you for answering that. Um, so I'm just gonna look at the radar here. I'm just looking at things. The lightning has subsided a little bit on this line of storms. There's a gap here between kind of south of Highway 1 down to roughly, which I am hearing Rollo. I call it Rouleau because that's the French kind of pronunciation, but Rollo. And south of there, there's a bit of lightning further south, but it is subsiding somewhat. We have more lightning working its way in here from Montana and the North Dakota border. And those are moving north. But again, these are just going to be heavy precipitation type storms. And there is going to be some wind in these, but the bigger issue um, will be that rain just stalling out over certain areas. Uh, and those are way up these rotations. Let me see if this is better from the. No, no different. Just far away from the radar. We're kind of in a no man's land triangle of radars, and again, I'll show you why I say that. If we look at our radars right now for the area, you've got one way to the north, way west, and way east. So we're in the middle of that. It's always tough on this southern portion of Saskatchewan to read radar well or accurately because it's just kind of, you're always far from the nearest radar, from any of the radars, I should say, not nearest, but from some of the radars. So, anyways, I'm just trying to think here if there's any more questions. The boy, not the girl. Sire saying, yeah, La Nina versus El Nino. El Nino being the male, La Nina is the female, yes. No snow in South Saskatchewan again this year would be sick. Yeah, I guess it depends on the perspective. Those who like to snowmobile will be a little upset if they don't get any snow, but also farmers, they need that snow to sit there for springtime so that the crops have a good moisture content in the soil come really early spring. So that's the other side effect of not having snow. So yeah, and then yeah, Rick also from Lanark County Scanner saying also the lack of snow just increases the fire risk because things are also fairly dry. So it's definitely there's always a trade-off for everything, you know, whether it's too much snow, not enough snow, rain, same thing. So Sire 605 or Sear 605, I love how EC doesn't filter out the second trip echoes. There's a lot of things I enjoy about our radar that they don't filter out, especially on those velocity scans. I complain about them on this stream all the time because it's so frustrating to try and read them accurately. So definitely on that train for sure. So I got it mixed up because I speak English, not Spanish. Totally understand that. No worries at all. That's just us, bantering more than anything. So, um, okay, so let us. I'm gonna kind of give a wrap up here. At this point, like I said, the severe aspect of things are not unfolding, which is great. The only thing that they're going to severe warn overnight would be for the heavier rain. There is going to be some wind involved in this, but it's not going to be those 90-kilometer-hour wind gusts. Our temperatures, I'm going to look at that before we go anywhere. Let's just turn on temperatures. And right now we are to the west of this cluster of storms in the 15-degree range. Right now over Plentywood, which I suspect is about 21 degrees Celsius, but that was 7 minutes ago, so that temperature is going to be dropping. And then you can see in Saskatchewan, mostly 18, 20 degrees. And as those storms come in, that's going to cool off overnight. Manitoba hovering around 19, 20 degrees. So still decent temperatures in terms of some storms. Again, I think everything in that area overnight into early morning will be sub-severe for hail and wind, but the heavier precip may trigger those warnings overnight. So what else is there? So that's essentially what's unfolding this evening. I'm going to bring up our composite again and just show you the rough direction of where all these storms are moving. The stuff in Montana is going due north, North Dakota for the most part moving northeast into Manitoba, and the stuff further south, same thing in South Dakota, moving northeast, may go into northwest Ontario. That's roughly a rundown of what we're expecting tonight based on what's unfolding on radar here. And areas obviously with those reds and oranges are heavy precipitation. And let me just swing back here and just take a look at some of the velocity scans on the Montana border. And they're high up. I keep repeating that, but I want to make sure that people aren't getting freaked out when we're seeing velocities rotating, but they're thunderstorms. Normal procedure through a lot of them is some rotation. So that is normal. It's when they get tight and the speeds increase, that's where there's an issue. So just looking here at this point, yeah, there's not much else to talk about at this point. So, okay.
Yeah, I guess the last thing would be that the Boeing segment in North Dakota has started it's started to speed up. It's starting its trajectory towards the southeast corner of Saskatchewan and then eventually into Manitoba. As we mentioned earlier, Manitoba, there's no severe watches for this whatsoever. So this is just going to be storms in the middle of the night for Manitoba. And then if there's going to be, and there will be more severe thunderstorm warnings in Saskatchewan tonight, but the expectation is that that's probably going to be more towards that they're warning for a lot of rain more than anything else. The hail factor is severely diminished. Wind gusts up to 90 kilometers an hour is fairly questionable at this point, as Tom was saying. Probably going to be a little bit lower than 90 at this point, but a few scattered 90 kilometers an hour, not out of the question. But as I said, that Boeing segment is starting to make its way northeast, and everything south of Regina towards Weyburn is still moving towards the north at this point. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, perfect. And I kind of drew out on the radar here what Connor's referring to, the bow echo, where you can see that arch forming in that line of storms. So you can see that the northern portion will probably just catch that southeast corner of Saskatchewan, and the rest is going to push up into Manitoba. So yeah, that's essentially all we're expecting. And again, thankfully, most of it has a much lower severe component than we were expecting throughout the day, throughout the evening, and overnight. So that's the good news there. So a couple more questions, and then probably at this point we'll pull the stream. I mean, we don't need to be sitting here telling you guys it's raining. There's nothing dangerous at this point. Again, overnight thunder showers, but hopefully on the non-severe side of thing, other than that the rain component might trigger Environment Canada put out a severe because of that 50 millimeter accumulation kind of component of things. So question from Liv here. Tom, have you ever chased during a tropical system? So I've always wanted to chase in the States during hurricane season, never kind of managed to do that. Connor and I chased Hurricane Fiona in the Maritimes, but that's considered a subtropical system. Once it crosses, and I'm now going to draw a blank, but anyways, once it gets north of somewhere, and Connor can probably spit it out. My brain is freezing up right now. But we chased Hurricane Fiona, and that was a lot of fun, and it just wanted me to make, chase stronger, hurricane type situations. So
Yeah, actually, we were that storm actually ended up being um the strongest or the lowest central pressure
yes,
low pressure system in Canadian history, if I'm not
history.
mistaken.
Yep. Yeah, the
Yeah,
last one was the
yeah,
1970s.
yeah.
They're 937.8, I want to say. And the only reason I know that number is I saw it on I have a digital photo thing in my kitchen, and I took a picture of that measurement when we were out that way. So, anyways, I want to chase in the US during a hurricane Cat 3, 4, or 5, but that hasn't happened yet. So, uh, to Carrie saying, just found you tonight, enjoying and appreciate the stream. Thank you very much for that. Glad you found us. Hopefully you subscribed. And if you did, hit that notification bell so you do know when we go live. Again, especially over the next 9 to 10 days, we are going to have streams, I think, pretty much every day. Just amount of severe weather happening in Canada over the next stretch here. So appreciate everybody who's tuned in tonight. Another question here. Does the black circle indicate which radar station you are looking at? So when I hit, let me switch back over here. When I hit this pill button here, yes, when you see this KGGW, that's a US radar. Same with KMBX. And then you move up to here, which it's green because that's the one I've selected, which is CAS is in Canada. But you can look that there's CAS Fox Warren, Woodlands right here by Winnipeg. So yes, that tells you which radar you are currently viewing data from. So great question, and hopefully that answers or helps you out. So yeah, I think at this point, again, there's not much happening. The severe component is definitely far lower than we were expecting, which is great news for folks in front of this. Connor and I appreciate everybody who's tuned in tonight, anybody who donated or subscribed to the channel. Really appreciate that. We are going to be back on tomorrow for Saskatchewan and Manitoba, most likely. If you don't follow us on Facebook, we do have our Facebook page. This is where you can find us on social media, all our platforms that we work with. And we'll have some updates tomorrow morning for what the expectations are for Saskatchewan and Manitoba. And then on Monday, it'll probably be Manitoba and Northwest Ontario and kind of moving from there. So you can keep up with our pages there and get updates. And then again, if you are subscribed to the channel, turn on those notifications, just that way you know when we do go live. And we always put what area we are covering, whether it's in the thumbnail or whether it's in the description, as to where we're covering that severe weather in Canada, basically. And we concentrate only on Canada. That's our bread and butter. There's plenty of places that cover in the US at this point. So we are highlighting Canadian chasers and Canadian weather and covering it for folks out there. So really appreciate everybody, tuning in tonight. And again, we will catch you guys on the next one. Anything you want to say, Connor?
No, it's I mean, as you said, very active next 9-ish days. So You can tune in with us and join along with the ride. It'll be a busy ride, but a fun ride at the same time, from a chasing and streaming perspective. But obviously, with severe weather, you never want to see anything bad happen to the public. So that's what we're here for, and that's what we're warning for. So you can always stay tuned with us over the next period, and then we'll walk you through everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm saving my voice. This is actually a short stream for us. It's only 3 hours. Our average stream is about 5 to 6 hours, and we've gone as far as 10 hours. So this was definitely a very short one. Again, southern Saskatchewan, western Manitoba expect some storms overnight, some lightning. Some rain, but not expecting any high winds or large hail at this point, just the way things have unfolded there. And our Toronto coming with a little funny comment at the end there saying that if you didn't subscribe, Tom will be under your bed tonight. So, anyways, we have fun when it comes to weather here when it's not serious, and obviously if it does get serious, you'll see my demeanor definitely changes when things need to be taken seriously. But appreciate the community we've built and everybody that's tuned in. Again, we will catch you guys more than likely tomorrow. So have a great rest of your evening. Hopefully everybody can sleep soundly, and we'll catch you on the next live stream, guys.
Ciao.